I sing praises to your name. Oh Lord, praises to your name. Oh God, for your name is great and greatly to be praised.
Don't call him David.
Michelle, she knows. Your opinion is a lie. You're fortifying, forging. I would sweat through all of my personal clothes, and you probably need to ask Michelle. I don't know. Yeah, I can't. Ask Michelle, she knows. Ask Michelle, she knows. Ask Michelle, she knows. Your opinion is a lie.
Lift your hands in the Holy Ghost.
All right. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of David E. Full From Exposure 2.0, where everybody's opinion is a lie.
Liar.
And what we're going to talk about, we got Cliff on the line already, and I'll just go ahead and kind of let him take it away, man. Talk about the living conditions while you're there, Cliff. What was it like?
All right. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good weekend, and it's been good since the last time we spoke. But jumping right into it, man. The living conditions. I could tell you from day one when we first got there from Cleveland, and so I shared very briefly during my first interview how when we got there, we didn't know David or anybody from the cult at that moment. We was just relocating and wanted to connect. And so we get down to St. Louis, and for us personally, we, like I said, before we got connected with the cult, we were like living in our car. We stayed in a motel for maybe a week or so until we ran out of money before we got connected with David. And I wanted to bring that point out first because it's all going to tie into what it became later. And so we got there finally, after a couple weeks in St. Louis, just me and my ex and our baby. We were there. We connected with David, and so he got us inside of one of the cult members, their home. They opened up their home for us during that time, and so we went and lived with this precious woman. May Yah rest her soul. She, like I said, she opened up her home, and we stayed in a room there. It wasn't necessarily the cleanest place, but it was better than where we were, and we were grateful for that. And so after a couple months of staying there with that woman, we then started to stay with another lady who was a part of the cult. And so while we were staying with her, it was just like pretty much, in hindsight, looking back, man, it was like we were being moved like cattle. We really didn't have no say in anything. Because, just like any adult, you're under the impression, all right, we relocated to a city, we're going to, of course, be in this cult, or, at the time we thought it was a ministry, and, get us a job, work, get us an apartment or a house, the normal thing to do. And so we found out pretty quickly that that's not an option. You can't get a job or anything like that. Your main job is to tend to David. In my case, being a man, I had to tend to him personally. And so you, like I said, that becomes your life. Anything David says, he's going to say that it comes from God, and that's the reason you need to do it. And so that was one of the reasons why we don't work there. You know, David claims that he went through this process, and it's the same process that we have to go through, except for he says that it's 20 years for us. He claims it's 20 years for him too, but you can't look back over 20 years of his life where he was sitting under somebody and being told everything to do, and he had to follow their orders or else they were going to hell, you know. And so um, these are all the types of things that also play into your living condition, because even if we were, you know, we could have been living in the White House with the president, right? And you would think that'll be the greatest experience there is. You're living in a huge mansion and things. Yet mentally, you're beat down. You're bombarded with satanic thoughts, you know, of hell, of you're never good enough. God is going to judge you. All that crap that David says. And so, um, it was it was just a sick thing. You know what I'm saying? Mentally and physically, because you can't. There's nothing that you can do, at least as long as you're following David's rules. There's nothing that you can do to fend for yourself. And so we stayed with this woman for several months in one house, and then she wound up moving from there into a another place. We stayed with this woman for several years. You know, she became, you know, family. You know, somebody that, you know, both me and my ex-wife, we grew to love very dearly. And so um you know, it became more comfortable because we, you know, we were close to her, yet at the same time it's still like, you know, we're a family, you know what I'm saying? And we're not allowed, according to David, to have our own. And so uh you know, and then he drills it into your head that if at any time, you know, you're thinking about going to get your own or whatever, he says that you're money hungry. Even if you want to go and work at McDonald's, you know, or the place that pays the cheapest amount of money, it ain't got to be money driven at all. If you want to go and get a job to, you know, for whatever reason, to take care of yourself, he tells you that you're out of God's will, and that, you know, you're disobedient and you're a rebel. And so you know, during this time, like I said, we were staying with this other woman for several years, and the majority of that time, even though my ex and my children were with her, you know, staying in that home with that lady, I was with David most of the time. Um, and so when y'all hear me speak about my ex-wife and my children, it's like they were there, but we had, you know what I'm saying, very minimal contact. Um, David made sure to keep us separated. And I, you know, I know this stuff now. I see the tactics and how he divided us. But I was always with him, no matter what. I was always with him. You know, it didn't matter if my family had any needs or anything like that. Um, David's needs always came first. I remember, you know, as an example of how selfish he is and how self-centered he is and how incompassionate he is. He wants to give the uh he wants to give the image, you know, that he's caring, that he's compassionate, that he loves people. You know, he always says these types of things, but I'll tell you, back in 2013, there was a set of services, a crusade or something that we were doing in St. Louis. And so we left from this church, and uh, you know, people came from like Detroit. Staff members came from Detroit down to St. Louis, and it was a lot of their first times down there. And so, you know, it was like a kind of a fun time for all of them. And uh, you know, David, he loves to show off. You know, he even said so himself last week at the stupid birthday party. You know what I'm saying? Where the same way he just sat there last week in that stupid ugly green jacket, you know, everybody was lying to him about, You know, when he just sat there and loved to receive all that praise and all that gloating, and just a pigsty, spiritually. That's what he is. He lays in that type of filth. Everything opposite of what the scripture teaches us. Oh, I'm a Leo. Now you in the horoscopes. Oh, we love to show off. No, don't put everybody in your category. Every quote unquote Leo ain't like you, David. Everybody don't like to show off. Everybody ain't arrogant. Everybody ain't like you, and that ain't the way to go. And so, he was doing the same type of thing. He loved to showboat like he's living grand, and then he wants to draw everybody else into it. And so it was the same type of thing. So it was this long entourage, you know what I'm saying, of probably like 10, 15, maybe even 20 cars. We're leaving from this church that he just preached at, and we're going to this park in St. Louis. And so, of course, we're riding in the Bentley. He wants to be, the show off, the head of everything. And so my ex-wife and my children, they're riding in one of David's vehicles a few cars back. And so this is like his old vehicle that he had when we had already gotten there. And so my ex-wife, she was driving it, and they, like I said, there was a few cars back. And then my phone starts blowing up. They're blowing my phone up, and I'm like, what's going on? But I'm driving, so I really can't answer it. So David gets a call, and then he says, I just hear him in the back, like, okay, yeah, all right. And then he hangs up. And then, I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought, maybe they were calling for David. Well, then I get a text message that comes through and says, in all caps, Cliff, y'all need to turn around now. Ashley just got into a crazy accident. And so I turned, excuse me, I didn't turn around, but I tell David, I say, hey, they said Ashley and my children just got into a car accident, man, and went down into a ravine. And he says, yeah, I know. I heard about it a few minutes ago when they called me, and he says, but just keep keep going to where we're going. And so, now here I am, I'm still driving him to where we got to go. And all that's on my mind is my family. And so that's one example of how he don't care about nobody or no thing. You know what I'm saying? He could have had any of them guys, continue driving him, let me be with my family. But when it comes to him, everything comes last. And so, like I said, we have been staying with that other woman, for a few years. And so I'll say up until about 2013 or so. And like towards the end of 2012, there have been some things, at that time that I was getting into that I shouldn't have been getting into as far as my marriage. One of the things that goes on in a sex cult is you have sex, whether you're married or not, whether you having sex with your spouse or not, there's going to be sex that's being had. And so,
Cliff,
like I said, yes,
would you label this a sex cult?
yes, I would.
Okay, cool. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. And, at one point when I was still a part of the cult, and I would hear people say, it's a sex cult and this, and I was like, man, no, it ain't. Meanwhile, we had everything that makes it a sex cult, but I was just in denial about what it was, because there's no way that I came to join a ministry and now I'm part of a sex cult, and so it was just like blinding at that time, and also just a lot of lying and denying of what we're in. And so, yeah, I was having sex with, other women that wasn't my wife, and that is one of the things that tends to take place there. As you know, David has sex with plenty of the women there, and in this particular case, the woman that I had been messing around with, it just so happened to be one of the women that David messes around with. And so he was, in my opinion, his pride was hurt by that. And so uh, the reason why I say his pride was hurt by it is because what he said afterwards was that, he allegedly had this dream, and God told him that he was going to judge me for what I had done. And of course, at that time, I was still believing every word David was speaking in those days. And, so I'm terrified, because at this point, I had already repented, for what I had done. I apologized to Yah. I had apologized to my ex. And it was just like, man, and God's still about to do this, So I'm scared. I don't know what's coming. I don't know if, in my mind back then, I'm thinking, Satan is going to come, or, an angel is going to come and just kill me, all these type of crazy, outlandish things. And so we go, to, one of these staff members' houses, and we have a quote unquote meeting. And, David is saying this and he's saying that, and, these other things. And, he tried to expose me to my ex-wife at that time, in front of these other people. And so while he was doing so, he comes out and he says, Cliff has been doing this, and I never said anything, and blah 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 blah. But now I gotta say something because now he's just disrespecting my authority. And so it took some of the fire out, because I had already told her some things. I had already shared with her privately some of the things that I had done. And so when he said it, it wasn't like no, end of the world shocker for her, but he wanted to, put on a show and be all extra, and his yelling, and then he had smacked me upside my head. And so, the women in there were, and it just made it all extra dramatic. And so he felt, like extra tough in that moment, because once he gets you in that mindset that, God is against you, now you're just like a sitting duck, and you're in a humbled position because you're afraid of what you think the Most High is going to do to you. Meanwhile, it's really just David and his witchcraft, got you feeling like I said, you're not good enough. And, here you are. In my case, you're doing the same thing David does, the same thing you're watching him do, the same thing you're driving him around to do, same thing you're driving his women to him to do, right? And so the very same thing, matter of fact, with one of the same women that he messed with. Yet God is judging me. But David, he just gets a pass, for these same types of things. And so, so one of these things that David claims God initiated and told him to do was that, we needed to get out of that house, out of that lady's house that we were staying in. Fine, cool, no problem. So we go and we find us another room, we with a total stranger. We were staying with her for a few months. We found this lady on Craigslist. And so me, my ex, and my two children, they were still small toddlers at the time. And so, we were making it happen. And we went to the other side of St. Louis now, of course, with no car or anything. And so David was, quote unquote, trying to exile me while I was still there, so they didn't want me coming to the office. They didn't want me around anybody. They didn't want anybody talking to me. Yet they still wanted me to do work, and so they wanted me to do work from the place that we're staying at. Meanwhile, now we got to find money to, make rent and, do other things. But he still wanted me to work for him for free. And so, during that time, I'm trying to figure out certain things. And so, long story short, the lady that we were staying with, um, she she was doing some illegal things and through like subleasing, and so she wound up getting kicked out. And of course, so we had to leave. So after that, we didn't have a place to stay. At that time, I didn't have a job. My ex, she didn't have a job, so we can't just go and grab a place. And so, you know, my ex, she talks to the quote unquote leadership at the ministry and tell them what's going on. We ain't got no place. And so David says that he thinks it's good if we go and live inside of a former staff member's home. And so, we go over there, and when we get there, this woman, like I said, she did what David told her to do. She opened up her home to us. However, she herself was no longer living in the house because the house was pretty much uh, an abandoned house. It wasn't um, it wasn't taped off or roped off or anything by city officials, but it needed to be. It was in that bad of a condition. Um, there was no running, or excuse me, there was running water, but there was only one sink in the whole house in which the water ran. There was no shower or no bathtub with running water. And so the house was like a complete mess. It had holes in the roof, and it rained. So, you had your mildew, your mold, and other type of smells that grow in those type of areas. And so, like I said, it was me, my ex, and my two small children. Um, and so, in these type of conditions, obviously you can get sick and stuff like that. And it just so happened to come at a time where we find out that my ex was pregnant. And we're like, oh man, we living like this right now, and you're having another baby. And so, it was a wild time. But we found out, and I think she was maybe like close to 12 weeks or so at the time. And after about a week of us finding out, she lost the baby. And so, during this time when she lost the baby, or when she was losing the baby, she was having a miscarriage. I was over at Victory Way Lane with David. Of course, he got me doing stuff for him, even though he doesn't want me around like that. And so he had me doing things for him while my wife is going through this. And I'm telling him, I'm like, yo, something going on, and then I called one of the other ladies who was a part of the cult at the time, and she went over there rushed over there to the house, to try to help. But by that time, my ex, she had already called 911, and the EMS came, and they got her. And so the staff member, she went over there and got my children. So, of course, I'm concerned what's going on. I don't know if, she's bleeding out or what. So I get over there the next day, and I just see the aftermath, man. It looked like a violent scene. There was blood everywhere, all throughout this house, going down the steps out of the house, throughout the yard. It just looked like a crime scene. It was bad. And excuse me. And I mentioned that there was running water for one sink in the whole house, but there was no electricity at all. And, it was like this time 10 years ago. In 2013, we were living in these conditions. And so, so it's August, July, June and September. So them is very, very, very hot months down there, 100 plus, and we're sweating. I'm talking about, it was just bad, man. Um, and so of course, uh, my ex during this time, what winds up happening is she felt some type of way that we're living in that condition, and I don't, I don't blame her, um, yet at the same time, that was one of the things that began working on her mind. I don't know what all exactly David told her or other people um, in the cult told her, but ever since that incident, she has started changing towards me. Um, if David felt like, what I did was wrong, which I agree that was wrong, me having an affair. But if he felt that I had done something wrong, why did he choose to punish my entire family? Nevertheless, that's the cards that was dealt to us. But she took that as, that this is the end of everything, not as far as the relationship, but just as far as her respecting me and, honoring me. And um, so from there, even though that was unspoken, that was the way she came off. That was the way she acted. Um, and of course, during that time, that's when she's messing around with a bunch of men and different things after this stuff. And so our relationship was pretty much over after we went through this situation. And so, David, he didn't care. He could care less about that. And once, uh, once my ex had lost the baby that she was carrying, I told David, I said, man, we just got back from the doctor and, you know, this happened, that happened. They said this. And all he says was, yeah, I know that was God's judgment. That's why you lost your baby, And so anytime something that, you know, whether it should or shouldn't happen in life, it's part of life. People have miscarriages, people fall and break a leg, people get in the car accidents. If it got anything to do with somebody that's tied to David, it was a judgment. It was a judgment from God. You know what I'm saying? You must have been thinking crazy about David, or he told you this was going to happen, even if he didn't tell you, or even if he claims he had a dream, but he didn't tell you about it. It always ties back to David somehow, and how God is looking out for David, and he wants to use these examples to keep you in check, And so, yeah, man, the living conditions is they were horrible, and that was my own personal experiences, you know. Even when I had to live in that mansion with David, people look at the mansion and say, "Oh man, you get to stay there. It ain't nothing but a slave quarter. You're not there with your feet kicked up, living
Question.
lavish."
Question.
Uh-huh.
We got reports that it is kind of set up like a slave quarter. Is that true?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is, man. He don't allow you to really get a chance to kick back and relax. You're not allowed that. You're not allowed that part of your humanity. You're not allowed to, if you don't, all right, for example, if somebody didn't want to go and dress up and watch David's stupid birthday celebration, right, from the cult, guess what? They're a traitor, they're a devil, and pack your bags. And you're going to hell when you leave. You know what I'm saying? So he controls everything, every aspect. And so while them people getting up there with them fake smiles and, yeah, we love you, Apostle. You're the great. No, you're not the greatest. You ain't nothing. You are trash. That's why you force people to tell you how great you are. Because if you was really that great, people would do it on their own. They wouldn't have to be taught and coached. And people who are really loved and celebrated for real, they don't have to pay for their own parties, especially from donor money. You know, People who love them will throw their birthday parties and their celebrations and celebrate their life. But secretly, you know, there's a lot of people there who don't really care for David. They're just afraid to say it. Um, and I'll even go as far to say that there's some who probably even hate him. I'll say that just based off of conversations that I've had with people over the years, many of them who are still there. And you can't say I influenced them, David, because I just let them vent. I let them talk. I never gave my opinion on anything. So it's only a matter of time before other people start leaving. So we know that for sure. And even currently, man, you know, some of the people that's there, just from what I heard, you know, it's people on the outside that have some access to a few people that are talking, that are speaking about some things. And so he thinks that, you know, just because he controls their phones and all of that, that, you know, people ain't gonna escape. Ever since I came out and speaking about the truth of the matter of all of this, he locked them down even more. And so we know his MO. You know, anytime somebody says something about him and starts revealing who he truly is, that's when he wants to lock the camp down even more. And that's why he got it set up like slave quarters. You know, he wants to know everything about the people. He moves people all over the place. You know, he traffics people from one state to the next. He don't care if people got children with other people outside of the cult. And he don't care if the person who's steadily moving them children can get in trouble with the law. He don't care about none of that. He goes against court orders. It doesn't matter to David. He just moves people around as he wills because he thinks he's above the law. And I mean, Alex, man, just look at how he spoke about the judge and, you know, those attorneys from the deposition after he got out of there, you know, and this, if he can talk about them types of people who really have some type of authority here, what you think he doing to the staff who he's diminished their own identity and made them feel like they're less than nothing? And so he don't let them sleep. He works them to the bone. They can't go out and buy their own food because they don't have any money. They can't spend the food stamps that they have. And so all of these things goes into your living conditions, man. And, you know, like we talked about before, that's why they get so excited about a hotel room. You know, it's almost like when you're 8 or 9 years old and your parents, y'all go out of town and you get a hotel and you're excited about, yay, we get to go to the swimming pool. And, you know, that's how they are right now, man, because they've been deprived of normal living conditions and a normal life, you know, and they probably saying, I don't want a normal life. And David, yeah, we don't have a normal life over here. You know, you couldn't handle it, Cliff. Check this out. A normal life, I mean, it's just being an adult, being able to take care of yourself, the basic necessities. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that. If they stinking, they can't just say, hey, I'll be right back, y'all. I'm about to go and shower. No, they got to be right there, front and center where David tells them to be at. And it's total control, man. That's why you see all the men up there. That's why they all docile. You know, he takes over their minds. You know, that's why, yes, sir, Apostle. Okay, Apostle. He got nothing but yes men. Anybody who challenges his thoughts, he want to get rid of them. You know, and yeah, man, he's a total slob, a total jerk, a total liar, and he's possessed, man. He's possessed by demons. He's possessed by Satan himself. Because I'm gonna tell you, and it ain't just me, but there's other people who've had satanic visitations there. And I'm not talking about just like a demon.
I believe it.
I'm talking about Satan himself, face to face. I'm telling you, Alex, it's true.
I believe it.
I'm a witness of it. And I don't, like I said, I can't vouch for no Jesus or none of that type of stuff that they're talking about appearing. But I can tell you with my own eyes what I've seen. I've seen the darkness. I've lived with David. I know the darkness that's in that house, even when he's not present in there. I've had real entities appear before me and try to do things to me. And so I know that it ain't just all glorious and holy angels. And no, it ain't none of that. Y'all can believe that. And the staff can lie about that, but that ain't happening there on David's properties. That's why when you go into them buildings, that's why when you go into those places where you're about to be where David has facilities set up, there's a darkness that you feel, man. You know, like when you go into a place, people don't have to say a word to you, but when something is off, you can feel it on the inside of you. And that's how it is around David himself and then around his properties. And here's a funny story. We go out, we flew out here to California in 2016 or 2013, one of those years we had came out here. And we went to the old TBN studios out in Orange County. And so we go out there and we're looking around and we're looking at, you know, all the beautiful things they have built in there. Marble floors and huge gold angel statues, you know, just different stuff. Well, it was, like I said, it was very immaculate, much different from the stuff that David builds. You know, he wants you to think that it's on this grand level, but it's really not. But we were looking at some really top level stuff, and it was just like, man, this is nice. And so I remember asking David, I said, man, what is that presence in here? It's just like, man, I've never felt it like this before. And he gets mad and he says, that's the presence of God. You know, you're acting like it's not like that at our building in Detroit. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not. You know, obviously, if I'm asking you what it is, I've never experienced it, you know, but he wants you to think that, you know, he has the grandest, the biggest, this and that. And then he turns to Michelle and says, Michelle, can you hear him? He's talking about what is this presence and how come it's not like that? He doesn't honor what we have. That's why he can't feel it up there. You know, and it's just like, dude, either you got it or you don't. You know, I had no idea what this place even was. And so it wasn't about me honoring where we were, and I still felt it. You know, and so he hates when you tell him the truth about, you know, the negative side of him, the things that he don't have. And so, you know, I bring that out because if you go against something that David thinks looks nice, if he says, man, what you think about this suit jacket? It makes you look fatter than what you are. You know, he'll say you a hater. You know, I'm telling you the truth. It don't look good on you, you know. And so a lot of times, he will wear stupid stuff. And that will be my way at getting back at him. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't just do anything or say anything. So when he would ask me how something looked, I knew it looked stupid. And he would be wearing it anyway. And I would see people looking at him and he just thinking he looking cool and looking good, looking like an idiot. And, you know, like I said, that was one of my ways of getting back at him for the living conditions, the way he talked to us, the way he treats us, the way he acts fake around certain people, you know, all of them different things, man. And so, like I said, living in that mansion, you ain't doing nothing but slaving for David. You know, you got to get up early, wash his cars every single day. You gotta vacuum everything. You got all while he does nothing. When I say he does nothing, I mean he does nothing. He claims he's working so hard, but the hardest work that he does is lying to the people and convince them that they're going to be cursed if they don't give him money. That's his hard work. Everything else, everybody else does the labor. From talking on the phones all day and all night to being on, you know, the social media apps, sending messages all day and all night, calling, praying for people, calling, begging people for money, calling, harassing people, texting, harassing people, you know, all of that type of stuff. Cleaning the house, like I said, he ain't doing that. Cleaning his own room, making up his own bed, he ain't doing that. Washing his own dirty drawers, he ain't doing that. And so that's what I'm telling you, man. The stuff that he gets up there and talks about people, oh, you're not excellent. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you don't do this, you don't do that. He does none of it. He does none of it. He don't even attempt to do it. And so, like I brought out before, he's had this quote unquote out of his mouth TV ministry and stuff since he was 23 years old. So he's always had people running, ripping and running, doing stuff for him. And so if he's always had people ripping and running and doing stuff for him since he was 23, at what point has he ever humbled himself, ever to serve somebody else, ever to make somebody bigger, ever? When has he ever done it? He don't do it, man. And so, you know, it's just like you're taking care of another baby, another child when you're around David, you know, and he's the epitome of what you should not be like if you ever want to get into ministry. He's the epitome of it, you know. And so from the things that he preaches, and when he twists things, all the way down to behind the scenes in his personal life, he's scum. You don't want to be like him on any given Sunday. I'm telling you, he's trash, man. And so he does all of these things to break down your mind. He studies the Hitlers, he studies the Mussolinis, he studies all of these men who were wicked and evil.
David, I have too, though.
And
I've studied them all.
me too. And that's when I started. You know what I'm saying? But he applies what they did. That's the difference, you know. And once he sees something works, he don't stop. He don't stop. The only way that it's gonna stop is if you remove yourself from them situations, you know. And so he's been doing this stuff for so long that, you know, he has it down to a science. But now that people are starting to wake up spiritually and recognize, all right, I hear what David's saying, but I also see what he's doing that's contradicting to what he's saying. I see how David is really a hypocrite. I can't no longer submit to this stuff. You know, that's what happens, man. And so after all of these, you know, he tries to pull out all of his tricks in the book. And once they stop working, he goes to the extreme, which is he goes from deception to just straight out lying. You know, he will lie and say he had a dream, he had a visitation, God said this, God said that, to keep you trapped. And once you say, oh, okay, and then you still go and do your own thing, then he makes you an enemy. He puts a target on you for everybody else. And so this also ties into the living condition, because now, you know, like I know them people ain't had no sleep in a month since we started doing these interviews, man, because he don't want anything on social media that will lead back to me, that interview, people finding out who he really is, you know. And so now, instead of just enjoying their summer weather and, you know, their new hotel room, they got to be on top of everything. They got to send out text messages. They got to send out, you know, matter of fact, since I'm bringing this up, they got to send out the lying text messages from David, you know, to other people. David, what he's done, if some of y'all may have received emails or texts from David recently, this past week, where he has made up this list of things where he claims about my life, right? These lies that he's come out with, and he's conspired with the people on the staff there that, you know, with these lists of things they've all claimed they've saw me do, and they've heard this and heard that about me and all these things. So even some of the people who don't even know me, who they came after me, they're even conspiring in this too. And so he's made this list up of things that he's sending to people, and he's the one who actually typed it out. Because when you see these messages, you can tell it comes directly from David, just by the way it's typed, the punctuation, the lack of spelling, the whole nine. And so he sends out this list, and instead of David just sending it himself, he sends it to other people on the staff, and he tells them to send it. And he speaks, he types it out in third person, where he says, stupid, cowardly stuff like, if you listen to Cliff and what he's saying about the ministry and apostle, like he's not the one typing it. And to you staff members who are sending this stuff out, that's the coward you serving. He won't even send it out himself. He talking in third person. Why is he speaking in third person? What Cliff is saying about apostle, David, I'm talking to you. Don't have nobody else saying nothing out. I'm talking to you. I'm telling you who you are, and I'm telling the people who you are. And there ain't no stopping. I've told you week after week after week after week, there ain't no repenting. Stop saying that stupid stuff, man. Bring your fake power. That's all we asking for. Bring your fake power, Moses. That's what we want, man. That's what we want, especially your people there. That's what they want. Why Apostle won't just get rid of him? Yeah. How come he won't? This ain't stopping, David.
David's watching. They're watching.
Oh, I know they watch.
They're watching. There's 53 people in here right now. There's a lot of people in here tonight. Smash that like, you guys. This is Cliff. He's talking about
smash that like.
Yeah, he's talking about the living conditions. Hit the like or dislike. But this is real. Cliff spent 10 years with this man. 10 years right next to this man. Bring it, David. Bring it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bring it.
Any of those other
I know you ain't got nothing.
Any of those other shitty demon slayers out there watching too, guess what? This is what we do. Listen.
Oh, yeah. We stepping on demons' necks. I'm telling you, David. Bring everything you got, man. And what's the name? Crypt Keeper, Bishop Scott. Y'all talking subliminal, man. You two old men better sit down. Y'all better sit down somewhere, man. The whole Koba thing, the whole Koba and Caesar, you're not Caesar. You're not no leader. You're not righteous, David. You're not either, Scott. But don't talk in subliminal. I hear exactly what you're saying. The people may not, but I hear exactly what you're saying. And you're going to get what you're asking for. So my suggestion to you two old men is sit down somewhere. You're not who you think you are. You're not who you say you are. Because guess what? I'm out here every day without no security because I don't need it, for real. You do, though, David. You do. And even they not going to save you from what's coming. So I'm just letting you know. It's best that you sit down and you humble yourself and you repent, David. And Scott, just take the back seat. Get them few dollars that David giving you off top.
Don't call him
Just
David.
quit running your mouth. You're right. I ain't gonna call him David. He a woman's private part.
Don't call him
That's what
David.
he is. With that stupid wig he had on for his birthday. Like, you're not there, David. You had your chance. You should have destroyed me when you could. Because like you said, because this is one of the things that he told all the people. And he does it for everybody. So in those early days, he said that he had a dream that I had left the cult and I started this huge movement against him to try to stop him, but it would never work. And he says that when I left the cult, you understand? Yeah, he's silly like that, man. And so he says that, and he says that God wound up destroying me because when I left the cult, he saw Satan himself enter into my heart. And so, for a long time, I was afraid of that, man. I'm like, man, I don't ever want to leave from here. And, I'm never going to betray and become a traitor and all that stupid stuff that he be putting into our minds. And so he throws those things out there early. He plants seeds. And then all of a sudden, other people start having dreams. Oh, man, Apostle, I saw Cliff leave. I saw this happen. I saw that happen. And so now that I'm actually gone, now he can say, Cliff left, all the dreams have come to pass. And so now they're believing that this guy is a real prophet, right? But he does that with everybody, just in case you do leave from there. He'll say, I already told you so. And so I was talking to my ex a few days ago, and I told her, I said, hey, you can feel however you want to feel about me. I said, but don't speak on me to my children. I said, I've been nothing but a good father, loving father to my children. Don't bring them into what I got going on with another grown man. And so I found out a few days ago that my children they're both teenagers now, and they're still stuck in the cult. Well, I found out a few days ago that my ex told them, because they had been acting kind of strange lately, ever since I started speaking out against the cult. My children started acting strange towards me, which has never been. And so so then I asked my ex, straight up, I said, what you been telling my children, man? I said, because they acting different. Something is wrong. And she's stuttering as always. She couldn't get it out. So I said, Ashley, tell me what's going on, man. What are you telling my children? I haven't told them anything. I said, okay, well, what is these suckers in that cult telling my children? Nobody's ever said anything to them. I said, you sitting up here lying to me, because they've told me before they started acting funny, they've told me people have said things to them over the years. This ain't nothing new. I said, I'm just now telling you what they've told me over time. And she's like, what did they say? I said, it don't matter. I said, but I already know that they're telling my children things about me that ain't true. So she said, well, I didn't tell them anything except for that you flipped out. I said, you told my children I flipped out. I said, how did I flip out? Just because I'm telling my experience with David, that's me flipping out? Yeah, you don't do stuff like that. You don't talk about Apostle like that. I say he's trash. I'll talk about him the way that I want to talk about him when I've experienced that with him. And I said, you don't tell my children that I flipped out, especially over something that ain't got nothing to do with them. And she wasn't trying to hear that or whatever. And so
I got a question. Do you ever fear that
oh,
David,
yeah.
do you ever fear that David will retaliate by using your kids against you? Not physically, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and this is one of the ways that he's doing it. They're brainwashing my children
That's what
with
Hitler
this type of rhetoric.
Hey, that's what Hitler did, man. He started brainwashing the fucking kids, bro.
Yep.
True story.
Turn them against the parents.
Yep.
Because that's a satanic act. Because whether your mother and father, let's say I was Hitler himself, that still don't give you a reason to dishonor your mother and father. Now, you don't have to agree with them, but once you begin to dishonor, now you in the land of judgment from the Most High. He'll judge you for that. He said that you will not have a long life if you begin to dishonor your mother and father. And so that's what David does. He's planting those type of seeds. My children, they're young enough, they don't know. But my ex, I told her the other day, I said, you're going to go down with David. Spiritually, you're going to burn with him, because you know what you're doing is wrong. And I said, you're just too much of a coward to stand up against it.
What's it say in the Bible? It says, honor thy mother and father, right?
That's right. That you may have a long life. The opposite of not doing it, you're going to have a short life. And so he's done that, man. Like, there's children there, that they ain't seen their dads or, whoever they were with when they come from the cities they come from, they ain't seen them people in years. They not allowed to talk to nobody. He isolates you from everybody, man. And so yeah, this was one of the things that I was concerned about with my children. It was already bad enough that they're there, but now they're feeding them poison against me. And so at the end of the day, I know that the Most High is in control of everything. I just hate that my children are caught up in the middle of it when they shouldn't be,
And that, you know what?
but
David's involving your kids in some very real dangerous adult, like this. The kids have no fucking business being in the middle of this shit.
none, bro.
Fucking
None.
zero. Getting tied up in a fucking cult with your kids, man. I'm not.
That's what cowards do.
That's what cowards do. That's David being a passive aggressive fucking coward. Honestly,
Yeah,
it's child abuse.
that's exactly what it is.
It's passive
He
aggressive.
surrounds himself with the children.
Yeah, it's passive aggressive child abuse. Fucking piece of shit.
Oh yeah, that's why, and I want to bring this out too, because I know there's a whole lot of this mushy new age weirdo, I'll call it weirdo Christian rhetoric. This whole docile, don't want to rock the boat mindset. I know David's wrong, but I don't want to see him go to hell. But guess what? If David go to hell, I can care less. And that ain't got nothing to do with me not loving him. But I love them other people enough to expose this punk for what he is, to make sure that he don't do it to nobody else. And so at the end of the day, not me, not Alex, not Chris Calm, not Lord Pender, not nobody in this world. There's nothing that we can say that will be the cause for David going to hell. David's actions will be the reason why David goes to hell. And so for you people who may be caught up on that, oh, we still gotta, pray for our enemies and all. Listen here, man, read all the scriptures, because it ain't like that. Not here, at least. Yeah, I pray for my enemies. But the thing is, I pray for my enemies before they become enemies, that they don't become enemies. Because once you make yourself an enemy to me, David, I'm coming for you. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you've been through and what you think you got out of. When I say I'm on your top, I mean every word. And the Most High is going to break you in front of everybody. The Bible says that there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. We've been at peace for 30 plus years with David. Me personally, I've been at peace with him for 15 years. So when y'all say, well, you don't have to go that route, you gotta, even man, I ain't trying to hear none of that. This might be new to you, but it ain't new to me. And I know what it takes. I know what it takes to finish this. The Most High has already shown me David's end. And so y'all can pray for him if y'all want to. But don't bring that to me. I have an assignment, I got a mission, and I'm on it, and it's going to be complete. And yeah, staff, I'm sure y'all saying, see, that's the devil in him, talking about he on a mission. Yeah, I'm on a mission to stop the devil, to destroy the works of the devil, just like Yahushua did when he came, the Son of the Most High. And so like I said on that last call, David, you call on your Jesus, you call on your God, your Jehovah, or any other thing that you want to call on, because we ready over here. This ain't no game. This ain't no gimmick. This ain't no joke. You and your little fun boys, Bishop Scott and them other guys, y'all can think it's a joke and a game because y'all on a computer behind TV cameras. What Yah is going to do to you, David, Nobody or no thing can save you. His wrath is coming. And staff, when this comes, this is going to be y'all's opportunity to get out of there. Because even after David is gone, whether he's in the dirt, in a jail cell, or somewhere on Skid Row, out of his mind, on all fours like Nebuchadnezzar, because the Most High had to humble him. It's up to y'all, staff. You're the one who got to be bold enough to say enough is enough. I'm not going to do this because this ain't what the scriptures say. You got to get bold enough to say, forget what David says. This is what the scripture says. You better get that in you because it's the only way out. I know what it takes. It's the only way out. It may be scary at first. You may have to plan an escape, but you better get out of there. You better get out of there.
That's how you got out, right?
Because, that's how I got out, man.
You had to plan an escape, right?
It was, you got to, bro.
And how long did it take you to plan your escape? Like mentally, can you explain that a little bit to us? Like the living conditions are just shit from what we've heard, right? And the whole thing with your wife having a miscarriage and David just not giving a fuck. Yo, I would have fucking drop kicked that piece of shit right there in fucking Minecraft and pushed his bitch ass into the fucking lava pit over and over again, right?
Yeah. In hindsight, man, I definitely would have.
So how did you escape? What was your process? Like, when did you say, okay, I have to make an escape plan. I'm ready to get the fuck out. What was that process like? How was there money involved? Did you phone? What happened?
All right. So the whole time I was there, I always had my own personal phone. You know, even if my wife's phone wasn't on or something, her personal phone, I always had a personal phone. I had a family member, you know, who would take care of that. So no matter what, we always had some type of connection to the other side, you know, the outside world. Yeah. And so, so I never stopped communicating fully with my family and friends. And so that kept me grounded somewhat. And, you know, just like I said, you know, before, over time, you just start noticing the red flags and you start noticing stuff, and, you know, you're being punished for things that David does. But if you were to say something about him doing the exact same thing, well, you don't have the face-to-face relationship, so I can do this and you can't. God is going to judge you and not, you know, that type of thing. So you get tired of that. You get tired of it because you know he's lying, you know, and it's like, man, because it starts to play on your mind like, okay, well, if this is the Most High's judgment, then how come David never gets judged? You know, but when you just take a step back and remove David saying, I had a dream and God told me blah, 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 and just leave it at, you know, take out the God element and just look at the actions. You recognize this has nothing to do with God. It's all David, you know. And so I was upset, you know, like not like upset, but just like, I can't understand this, God. You know, you seem unfair. These are real conversations that I'm having, you know, because I'm like, I'm reading one thing, but then I'm seeing another thing in action. And so it's like, I started getting very confused. And as the scriptures say, God is not the author of confusion. And so if he's not, Satan is. And so there's nothing but confusion there, man. And so as all these things just continue to play out over time, like 2016, we came out here to California, and I remember, you know, before I came to the cult, you know, I knew I was supposed to be living out here, but I instead I went to the cult. And so it was just like, and even before that time, I was still supposed to be out here, but I never made that move. And so when we were out here in 2016, it was like, man, I know I'm supposed to be out here, but I got to find out a way how to get here. And so like June of 2016 all the way until January 2018, I was plotting my escape. And so, like they say, if something ain't broke, don't try to fix it, right? So what I did in 2013, the way I left from there was, um, I told David that, oh, and I'm gonna bring this up too. So I told David that I was behind on child support and that, initially I told him that so that he would pay us, give us some money. I was hoping that he'd be like, oh, okay, well, y'all are doing a lot of work. Let me help y'all. He never did that. So, okay, bet. A few months later, I came back to him. This time, uh, I told Michelle, I said, hey, Michelle, can you let David know that I got a court date coming up, about this child support thing, man, and blah 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 blah. So, long story short, I leave. I tell him I had to go handle some business for child support, which I didn't. I just needed to get out of there. I had to. I went back to Cleveland, back to my hometown, because I needed to regroup my mind. After this whole situation, living in an abandoned house, I had to figure some things out, and get back right emotionally, mentally, spiritually, so that I can endure for my family at least, And so I was gone for like 6 or 7 months, and then David had called for me to come back, so I went back, and when I went back, um, on my way back there, matter of fact, when I got that phone call, I seen Michelle's number, her name pop up. And so like my stomach started twisting and turning like y'all's do in the staff when y'all see her name pop up on your phone or David's name pop up on your phone or one of those leaders' names pop up on your phone because you know that it's something coming from David and you don't know exactly what's going to be said. And so it's an anxiety that hits you, man, any time of the day or the night. Once you see somebody's name from the cult pop up, your stomach start twisting and turning, man. It's a sick feeling, a sick feeling. You start feeling nauseous, and that's how you know it's demonic as well. You know what I'm saying? Your spirit don't lie, man. And so I got this call from Michelle while I was in Cleveland, and she's like, "Hey, Cliff, all extra bubbly and buddy buddy." So I knew it was some BS coming. So she's like, "Hey, Apostle said that he wants to know how's everything going and blah 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 blah. He wants you to come back and are you done handling your business?" And I wanted to say no, I'm not coming back, but I still during that time I still had that fear of if I leave from here, then I'm gonna die. I'm gonna be killed and I'm gonna go to hell. So of course I went back and I get back to St. Louis, but on that whole ride back, man, it was a long ride, but it went so fast because I was going back to a place I didn't want to be, a place that I knew was bad for me, bad for my family, but I believed the lies and the promises uh, he had said through Michelle. Things have changed, living arrangements are different, blah 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 blah. And so I said, okay, let me give it a shot. So once I'm there, of course, nothing has changed except more people live in St. Louis now. And so um, people are piling up in them houses. Um, there was probably like 25, 20 to 25 people in a house living in the house at a time. Um, these were regular size houses. And so uh, during this time, even though I wasn't living in those houses with those people, I'm looking at their condition and I'm like, man, I cannot do that again. This is wrong. Um, he can say it's God's judgment or whatever he want to say, but at the end of the day, it's wrong the way he's doing things. And so um, I said this next time around, at all of 2017, it was just all downhill for me. Um, I knew I was going to be leaving, you know, at the end of the year or like the beginning part of that next year, which I did. And so uh, I planned it once again. I said, I got to go back for this child support thing. Um, you know, this time, you know, they trying to lock me up. You know, I said some crap like that. And so when I got out here, you know, once I left from the court, I came straight to California. And so this how messed up it was, man. I couldn't even tell my ex where I was living at. I told her I was in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing community service. I'm I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You know, I'm telling her all of these things because I knew that one day David would try to use that against me and say, this is what happened because he left from here. This is why this is going on. See, Cliff went to jail because he did this here and he didn't listen to me. Well, guess what, David? I never went to jail, you stupid dummy. Hey, ex-wife, I never went, you idiot, for following that idiot. I never went to jail. Guess what? I was behind in child support. And I was behind in child support because I listened to you. I believed your lies. Shame on me. I take responsibility for that. Shame on me. I listened to this guy and I believed the lies. And so, man, I'm going to tell y'all, behind on child support. Wow. That's an understatement. I was way behind on child support. But once I got out of there, I hit the ground running. I started working. Paid off thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, David. So the lies about I'm going back to jail because I didn't pay child support, that's a lie because I never went the first time. And it's a lie because I've paid my child support, you stupid dummy. And so that list, that was one of the things on this list of things that he sent out to people saying that wasn't true about me. He says that I got children that I don't care about, you know, because I had children before I got married to my ex-wife. And one thing I can tell you, David, is that I can call my children and that I can talk to my children. And my children know me. But how many you got out here that don't know you, that you deny, that all you are is a check for them? Yeah, you got another son
We had a conversation
that you don't even speak about.
We had a conversation off the phone one time. That you said David had 3 women pregnant at one time, possibly.
Yeah. One of them actually had the baby. The other one is still up for speculation. And the third one, I was told she got an abortion. But he had all 3 of them pregnant at the same time. So they would all be like 19 or so right now, 18, 19, 20, somewhere around there. And so David, you know, he denies his children, his son for sure. I know for sure he denies him. And that's a shame. He's 19, he's a grown man now, and David still denies him. So don't never speak on me and my relationship with my children, you dummy.
Wow,
Call yours. Make sure yours is straight.
David denies his own son.
Man, he don't talk about his son. Do you ever hear him speak about him?
No,
Never.
no.
Only Joshua. Because Joshua's a yes boy to him.
Did David encourage
He'd do whatever David say.
Did David encourage the abortion?
See, this was before I got there. Okay. This is just information that came out.
Okay, that's what you heard.
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he was behind it.
Okay, cool. I believe it. I believe it. No reason not
to. And that other
pig like
the other woman that is speculated, the one who also had a baby, she's still, you know, she may not be there anymore, but she's still very connected with David. I don't know how closely, but she's still tied to him, still believing his lies. Because, matter of fact, since we on the topic, it is August 5th, 2023. And according to this witch, that lying lady, David's possible other baby mama, she said I was supposed to be dead by August 1st. And here we are on the 5th. So yet again, David raised up another false prophet from his camp. And like the scriptures say, it says, don't fear them who prophesy false prophecies and dream dreams that do not come to pass. He say, don't fear them, for I am not with them. That's David. That's when I started waking up. When I started putting 2 and 2 together, when I started reading the scriptures for myself, and not what David they say. When I started reading them for myself, and I stopped lying to myself about miracles that I know I haven't seen, but I'm getting up there talking about I've seen them. When I'm getting up in that pulpit talking about sounding stupid like Joseph lying tell. Yeah, Apostle, there's 192 nations every night. 192 nations, Joseph. Quit lying, man. Quit lying.
You sound just like him.
You know, come on, man. And I knew he was lying, but you know, that's one of the things. Joseph he'd been lying all these years, but Joseph will come in the clutch because, you know, he's a great orator. He can talk, you know, and so he would always get up there. He ain't looking at nothing on that phone when he's up there. They not scrolling, looking at nothing. I know, because I was standing right next to him and do the same thing. And so he's making up things because David, where's the miracles? Where's the people? Come on, Joseph, y'all moving too slow. Well, nobody's calling in because there are no miracles, David. You know, you might get Lance calling in again, you stupid dummy. you know, like Lance, when you popped up on the screen, man, last week, and, you know, you're talking about the tumor, something fell off your neck. That was classic, because right before you showed your face up there, Alex, David's talking about, yeah, I heard that miracle. You dummy, there was no miracle. You know, even after you show how stupid he is and how he's a false prophet, he still tries to cover and act like he didn't miss it. And people still just go on with the show. And so, like I was saying, that's when I started waking up, when I realized that David, his prophecies do not come to pass. What you say, which one don't come to pass? Well, okay, North Carolina. He said the father was going to come down in front of all the people in North Carolina with physical skin features in the sky, and everybody was going to see him. And that was supposed to happen in June 2013. We're in August 2023. 10 years and 2 months later, and it still ain't happened. How many more years of false prophecies do we have to listen to before we deem the sucker a false prophet? I don't have to hear nothing else. He has nothing but a track record of false prophecies and lies and dreams that do not come to pass. And so I don't see David the way that some of y'all see him. Well, we got to pray for our brother and restore our brother. He ain't no brother. What Bible is y'all reading? He ain't no brother of mine, for sure. And if he a brother of yours, you need to get out of that camp. Because true brothers, they listen. They humble themselves. They listen to godly counsel. David don't. He's a law to himself, and he only listens to himself and what he thinks and feels is right, even if you present scripture to him.
So he lives in a world where he thinks he's always right and nothing abides.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Even if you show him scripture, he'll say something like, God ain't tell you to tell me that, or, you know, and then he's saying, no, even if God did tell you, that don't mean you outranked me. You know, he always, it's always some reason why he don't have to listen to you. And so he's a bastard. That's what the Bible calls a bastard. You can't be taught. You can't be trained. You're not the Most High's child. You are Lucifer at best. David, you are a rebel. And that's why the Most High said, do not fear them, because he has not spoken to them. He ain't spoke to David. Maybe when he was younger, but he for sure ain't spoke to him, at least in these last 15 years. As long as I've known him, I can tell you that. And I want to make mention too, now that I'm at it, Uh, this is probably, and this is David's first time hearing it too. He had this big suitcase, right, that he would keep in his closet, and um, in the suitcase was all his journals and all his notes and whatever he'd be writing out. So yeah, I went in there, David. I went through your stuff, and I was just curious, thinking I'm gonna find some mysteries and Jesus appearing and all of this. But as I'm going through there, I'm seeing notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook, full of David uh, things, dreams that other people have had, some dreams that he's had, as well as things that he said God has told him. But notebook after notebook after notebook, all of this stuff was about what? David's pride, David's lust for money, and lust for sex. This is what he's in his own handwriting, talking about how God told him he was going to judge him. He was going to bring him down. He was going to take this anointing, take that anointing, do all of these different things that we see happening. I know what's happening. I read your journals, David, but you too stupid that you don't even recognize the things that you wrote is taking place in your life. He thinks that, as he told me the last time I talked to him, he said, I don't have to repent to you. I don't have to repent to none of you people out here. As long as I've told God that I'm sorry, then I don't have to say nothing to y'all. And I said, that's cool, but you keep doing it. You don't stop doing it. And so, David, I'm going to tell you now, all of that stuff that you wrote out with your own hand and all the stuff that you get up there speaking every week, you quote unquote prophesying, talking about what God is about to do to your enemies and all of this, that's really a message for you. He's using your mouth to talk to you. You just don't see it. You're dismantling in front of the whole world, man. And we loving every minute of it because it's time that you and that demon that's in you is apprehended. And Azazel, that's who's appearing to the people in that cult. Azazel. It ain't no Jesus. It ain't no God. It's a God to David. But it's Azazel. It's Satan himself. That's the reason I had those appearances there. That's the reason why I saw Satan. That's the reason why I saw demons. That's the reason why the people there are tormented. Because of who is really there running things behind the scenes, David. Hey, man, the jig is up. The jig is up. You can say whatever you want to say. But the jig is up, David. The people are about to start leaving that place. They're about to start getting out of your grasp. And we're going to see you have to put your money where your mouth is. How you always threaten the staff and tell them, I'll get rid of all y'all. I can do this myself until God send me another staff. Well, you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is. You might have to take out another $40,000 credit card because you're going to have to figure something out once your manpower starts leaving. And so, Alex, he thinks he's untouchable. That's the biggest, man, that works to our advantage in the greatest way. Because as the Bible says, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. David is so full of pride and arrogance. It's everybody can see it but him. And what's crazy is he wrote a great book on pride, a great book, but he don't apply none of it. And so because he's arrogant like this, he's gonna self-destruct as we see him doing now. And it's a great time to be witnessing this, man. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming, Alex.
What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if everybody just upped and left David? Just everybody said, "We're the fuck out of here." Like, hey, dude, fuck this, fuck you, we're leaving, deuces. What would
That'll
happen
be the
to
last
David?
we hear of David. We won't hear nothing from David for years until he finds somebody else to sucker into it. That's it. Because that's the same thing that happened this last time, or that last time when his staff, after he started having all them babies while he was still married, having babies with other women, the staff, they wasn't having it. They left, and nobody heard of David Taylor from 2004 until, what, 2000, maybe 12, he started to start making some more noise. But nobody heard of him. Nobody heard of him. And then when he comes back out, he's doing the same thing. He never stopped. But people just hadn't heard from him in years. And I know this because people would always say, oh man, Apostle David Taylor, oh man, I remember him from way back. He used to be in St. Louis, right? Meanwhile, we still in St. Louis. They had no idea where he was. He fell off the face of the earth. And so all he's gonna do is, like I said, he'll try to wait around for more people to be suckered into it, and then he'll do it all over again if he could. But this time, the Most High is gonna stop it for good.
I think you're right.
And David ain't gonna get out of this.
I think you're right.
Oh yeah.
I think you're right 100%. I don't think David's going to get out of this clusterfuck he's created for himself on this one. Nah, he's dodged too many financial, economical bullets with the IRS, I think. And it's his day. It absolutely is. It's his day. I
most definitely, brother.
I agree with you. There's too much good behind this now. It's to stop it now. I think David knows that too.
Yeah, he knows it. You can see him up there now. You can see how bothered he is. He say he ain't bothered. He say, yeah, we're laughing. No, you're not. No, you're not. I know you really ain't laughing, David. I know your stomach is twisting and turning. I know you passing gas like you do when you get nervous. I know exactly what you're doing, David. I know how you are behind closed doors. And he hates that. He hates that I know how he is behind closed doors. He hates that I know how he gets in the midst of a battle. When he feeling spiritual pressure, he on everybody's head in that cult. Everybody's walking on eggshells right now. They not having the time of their life like they want everybody to believe. This whole time, while these people are, telling him all of those, those good things, the yes men, the yes women stuff for his birthday last week. You saw how he was just sitting there on his phone. He wasn't even watching them videos. He don't care what these people say. He don't care about none of that stuff.
We're under we think that he could be watching the stream while we're doing live streams to make sure we're not streaming over his shit.
Yeah, they are. They are. He has people watching everything. He got somebody watching something at all times where he got people, like, he didn't have everybody unfollow me on Facebook and stuff and block me. He only had the people that he feel would not be strong enough to hear the things that I'm saying. He don't feel that they're strong enough to hear it and stand with him afterwards. But the ones that he do, he wants them to watch me to see if I'm saying anything. David, you ain't got to worry about that. What I got to say to you, I'm going to say it verbally so you can hear it.
David,
you can hear it.
I challenge you to call in. I challenge you, David. We all do. We'll pay you $1,000 for your time for 1 hour, but I bet you won't call in. We'll give you $1,000.
We know you like money.
Yeah, we know you like money and donuts. It'll buy you fucking Davy's dozen.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Or if you want to get your rocks off like Caesar and Cobra, we can set that up in Minecraft too. You know what I'm saying? However you want to do it, David. Spiritually, you don't have a chance spiritually. But yeah, call in, man. Let the people hear for for themselves, man. What you really about. Call in, David. You know, you may say we're not worth your time. We're too little. You got bigger things to take care of. But if that's the case, you wouldn't be sending out messages. You wouldn't be thinking about what we got going on, man.
Lord Pender got
'Cause I'm
messages.
yeah, some funny messages.
Yep. Say they were funny messages. Can I say what they were? Is that cool?
Of course,
Yeah.
man, you can read them off because I was going to.
Yeah, okay, go ahead and read them, bro. Yeah, read the messages. They're fucking funny.
All right.
Basically accusing Cliff of murder. Yeah, like, oh, Cliff's a murderer.
Oh,
Get the fuck out of here.
literally.
Hey, Nate,
This
welcome.
guy. All right, so scrolling. All right, where we at? Where we at? I couldn't believe this. I was cracking up, bro. He says, yeah, where's it at? Or you got him up already, or no? Because I'm
Nah,
scrolling back to him.
they were. One of them basically was basically everything Cliff said about the child support. He's a murderer, and he did this. Basically, everything Cliff just told us about, like he was messing around. And dude, kudos to you for coming out and saying, like, hey, I was messing around with other women on my wife, but that's what you do in a sex cult. That's what you do in a sex
Exactly.
cult. That's what you do. You sleep around, man. That's the poison of a sex cult. They're very dangerous, man, and we got fucking kids in them, right?
Yep.
It's fucking weird, you guys.
Young girls being groomed
Yep.
for David's liking.
Guaranteed, there's young girls in there being groomed.
All right, so here we go. I'm pulling them up now because when I saw that, man, I couldn't help but laugh, man. And I had to ask my ex. I said, so you've conspired with David and you're gonna partake of his lies, which you know are lies. And she said, Cliff, I already told you who I'm standing with. I said, that's all I need to hear. So that on the day of judgment, when we stand before the Most High, I said, I'm gonna testify against you. And she says, well, there's people who will testify with apostle against you. I said, you ain't listening to me. I said, you talking about some stupid lies. I said, I'm talking about the end of your life. You're bearing false witness against somebody. I said, you think you're not going to pay for that because you're with David? I said, you silly. But I got him right here, man.
Hit it.
All right. So David sends these messages to Lord Pender. What up, Lord Pender? And so David says, ha, 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 you F word. And that F word is the derogatory term for a man who likes another man, right? So he says, and he's speaking in third person. He's too much of a coward to say how he feels. So he says this, Apostle Taylor is laughing at you when we bring what you are saying to him. When he hears crap Cliff stories, whatever that means, he can't type. But he I guess he's trying to say my stories are crap. So he says, you are a darn, D-U-R-N, a darn joke, punk. The whole JMMI staff rolls in the floor and laugh at you F words and coons. Oh, and just so you know, Cliff is not telling you idiots the full truth of why he was put out the ministry. So now I was put out the ministry, according to David. I was never put out the ministry. I left because I said I had to go and handle the court stuff. And so he says, he's not telling you the full truth why he was put out this ministry. And you are going to be a part of his crimes when the government and the FBI comes knocking on your door. Alex has already been in jail for felony in the past, and he's a punk rock past addict druggie. He's going back to jail with Cliff. Both of you jailbirds. We also know Alex is giving it to Lord Pender. And so he's, all he think about is sex. He's nasty like that. And then he says, these are Cliff's crimes he was caught within and outside this ministry, whom we have witnesses. And then he says, where's it at? whom we have witnesses. Number one, Cliff was buying drugs and smoking it and trying to give to others to smoke in the ministry. We have video footage. So we're gonna break this down one by one. He did seven points. So the first one, he said, I was buying drugs and smoking it and trying to give to others to smoke in the ministry. We have video footage. All right, so when I was there, I was smoking weed. I had started smoking weed. I had injured myself. My arm was in a sling for maybe a month or two. I wasn't able to get any pain meds, and so I wound up smoking some weed to relieve my pain. I did that. Me and some of the other guys who were there, and if you guys are conspiring with David, you just a hypocrite. You just a hypocrite, you know. But yeah, I was smoking weed.
David's doing drugs, but he's doing pills.
Yeah, he doing something much harder than what we were.
Yep.
Yeah, I was smoking fat blunts in David's cars while he was out of town, and that Bentley, and that Rolls Royce, and that oh man, especially in that BMW, man. I let that top down, and I was feeling good, David. Great times in them cars smoking in your cars, you punk. And then and so, you know, I ain't have no money, so I'm getting like a dime bag or something. So him saying I'm trying to get others to smoke it, that's a lie. I only had enough for a blunt. You wasn't paying me nothing. So we know that's a lie, David. And the video footage. Hey, I can show you videos of me smoking in your cars if you want some video footage, you dummy. So what we really talking about, man? What we really talking about? I got video footage, you punk. Then number two, he says Cliff had multiple affairs with married and single ladies while he was yet married. Yes, I did, in a sex cult. That's why he got divorced. That's not why I got divorced. We didn't get divorced until 3 years ago. I had already been out the cult for 2 years when we got divorced. I was ready to divorce my ex after 2 months of marriage. We were married 2 weeks before we went to St. Louis. So our entire marriage was there. Our entire marriage was in St. Louis.
In the cult.
And so, in the cult. The whole time we were in the cult, besides 2 weeks, we were married that time. And so, all off top, our marriage was already going through some issues due to David and his restrictions and the rules of the cult. And then he says he was not a faithful man to his wife. I agree with that. I wasn't. He's always been cheating from the beginning of his marriage before he ever knew Apostle Taylor and came to JMMI. Like I said, we was married for 2 weeks. So that's a lie. You know what I'm saying? When we got married, just like any newlyweds, we're happy to be married. And then we get to St. Louis, and then everything else goes from there. So that's another lie David said. Then he says he's a liar, and tell him to tell the full truth to you demonic coons, because it's going to come out. Well, it's out, David. I had sex with multiple women that was not my wife. It's out, David. I've repented. I can admit what I've done. You can't, though.
It's not like it's a big secret.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not like it's a big secret what happens in a sex cult either, too, right? And it's like the
like,
fact that,
come on now.
yeah, this is powerful that you're admitting it, because it's like, yo, this is what happens. I did this. Yes, I did this.
Yes. You're validating my testimony, David. Thank you for this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're not going to beat
We
you up for it.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not going to beat you up for it. We're human, man. This is what happens.
What?
Yeah.
Come on now. He's an idiot, man. And so
He thinks we're going to get mad at
yeah,
you. and
David,
hate
it's
you.
up.
He thinks we're going to like hate you and shit. We're like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
Complete opposite,
Yeah,
David.
you know.
We love him more for telling the truth about your bullshit, dude.
Yeah, bro. And that's the thing. He won't say it. He won't admit to what he does.
David's not a true
because,
apostle like you. You're a true man. David will never admit.
No, he ain't a man at all. you know, and like that video that I think
Gucci's.
Chris Khan put it together. That's yeah, man. The one where Chris Khan put a quick video together the other day, a short, I think yesterday, where David's up there talking about he's wearing like a tan colored jacket, and he's saying things like, well, what are you guys doing? You're saying that there's stuff happening over here. What are you doing? Well, David, we're talking about what we've done. We have no issue with it. We've repented to the Most High, and we've gone on about our business. And so, according to Scripture, I can tell you about yourself. I don't have a plank in my eye no more. When I was living like that, when I was out here having sex with a bunch of women in your cult, while I was cheating on my wife in your cult, you never heard me say anything to you about the women that you was messing with, because I wasn't going to be a hypocrite like that, knowing I was still living that way. But now that my life has changed, now I'm not out here doing what I was doing. I can tell you, you need to stop. You need to repent. I don't have a plank in my eye no more, so I can tell you that you need to stop. And I'm not a hypocrite about it. But you can't do that because you are a liar, you are a hypocrite, and you still live in that same wicked, dirty, disgusting, satanic, disastrous lifestyle.
No, that's cool, Jot G. I feel you, bro. We had a real question. I
And,
was like, maybe it's not. I'll ask it, but can I ask a question? It's a pretty straightforward question, and but you are by no means required or obligated to answer this. But Jachi,
Okay.
he's a good guy, dude, and he's one of the homies. He says,
Yeah.
Did you ever hook up with Michelle or Mariah?
No, I don't
Okay.
know Mariah.
Okay.
I've never met her.
Cool.
And no, Michelle, I would not.
Okay, cool. Right. Cool.
Nah.
Okay. Thanks for asking. Cool. Right on. Thanks for being honest, dude. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, not those. Yeah, Michelle, she looked like Sylvester Stallone in the face to me, man. Her face too hard for me, bro. I'm cool. You know. Yeah, David liked those manly features, so yeah, that's another story. But we'll go to number 3 of David's list. So he says, number 3. Okay, sorry about that. My phone disconnected. He said, for number 3, David tells Lord Pender, the authorities have already come to us and have been asking us about Cliff hiding and running to California from the law to pay his back child support. Yes, he has children and he's not providing for them. He's lazy and he don't like to work. Never did when he was at JMMI and still don't. If you are to have a Q&A about these things, you should have a Q&A about these things concerning him, you F words. Yes, the government, they've come to us looking for him. He's avoiding paying all the back child support he owes in Cleveland. He's going back to jail for the same thing. That's if he hasn't paid or someone has paid it for him. So this was what I was talking about a little bit earlier. You know, he's saying that I'm going back to jail for something I've never been in jail for in the first place, false prophet. And then secondly, you know, he's just coming back around to some of the things. He doubles up on some of these things because he has nothing to really say about me. And so, they take, you know, if anybody's ever paid child support or alimony or anything like that, you know, they automatically deduct that from your paycheck. So that can be easily disproven, you know, that I wasn't working. You know, I had an injury a few years ago that caused me to not be able to do certain things physically. I had some very serious surgeries, and now David, knowing that, he's tried to use partial information to make it seem a certain way. So there's a satanic truth, and then there's a full truth, a godly truth. You know, a satanic truth is nothing but a half truth. So David will say things like, he got behind on his child support. He wasn't paying his child support. That's true information, right? But he don't say the other side, why Cliff wasn't paying the child support. Because I had him sitting here doing everything for me for free. And so he sets things up way in advance so that if you ever speak out against him later, he'll use these things as ammo to try to destroy you. And I've seen this over the years, so I've already been prepared for anything that he gonna try to say, anything that he will try to do. So this is where other people have bowed out. When it came to these types of things, they get scared when David starts threatening them and saying all these things. So, David, I implore you, go get the FBI, the CIA, or I don't know these agencies like that, but whichever ones do all that investigating, go and get them. You say they're coming looking for you, or looking for me. They're coming to you looking for me. Well, if they're looking for me, tell them where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you guys are listening, I'm in California, and it's easy to contact me, but I have nothing to run from. I have nothing to hide from. I got my own receipts to disprove that what you're talking about is false, David. So you really a peon, man. You a little guy, man. You think you big, and that's why you always talking about you a real one. Real ones don't have to say that they real ones. They just live it, and everybody know it around them. I'm a real one. I'm a real one, ain't I, y'all? No, you're not. They're afraid to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you, no, you're not. You ain't no real one. Even when you get up there and you disrespect the LGBT community, you don't have to agree with their lifestyle, but you get up there and you be disrespectful because you like to project who you really are.
I'll bet David watches I'll bet David watches like tranny porn or some shit like that.
I'm sure he does, bro.
It wouldn't surprise me if he does.
It wouldn't surprise me if somebody else caught it on his computer like I did before.
You found it on his
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
David watches tranny porn. I knew it.
He does.
He likes that hairy leg, porn.
That gotta be the reason why he like hairy legs on a woman and a hard face on a woman like Michelle got. Because
you know what? I've kind of noticed that about the women. They've all got hard faces there, dude.
Man, they hard.
Now that I'm thinking about it, holy shit.
They hard, bro. Oh yeah. And the women there, they're masculine too. But he got all the men docile. They don't have a voice. He got the women in leadership positions, and the men have to submit to them. You know what I'm saying? It's a sick operation.
Holy shit! That my fucking wheels are turning. Keep going.
And so yeah, man. I'm talking about. I've seen Michelle poking grown men in their chests, yelling at them guys. Like they little boys, and they take it. And so yeah, he's into some other things, man. And I'm not the one to judge what somebody do behind closed doors, but don't be fake. Don't be talking about these people like you're not watching them on your screen. Yeah.
You heard it right.
Yeah, I know what you do, David.
He said it, Rufus St.
I
Hubbins.
saw it.
He saw that's right. That's right. He said it, Rufus St. Hubbins.
Yeah, I said that.
He said that.
That's right. I said it.
You heard it. That's right. He said it.
That's exactly what I said, David. I saw what was on your computer when you went out of town when I first got there. After your ex-wife left you, and your computer and things were still there on the side of your bed next to that blue bin where you had your books and stuff. I'm cleaning up your apartment. This was the first time you had left after me and my ex had gotten there. So this was my first time cleaning up your apartment and things. And you were on your way back to town, I think maybe that next day or so. And right there next to that blue bin you had on the side of your bed, in the bedroom at 2008 Victory Way Lane, you had your laptop, and it was right there on the floor next between the bed and the blue bin. And I thought it had fell off the blue bin. I thought it was just sitting up there and fell off. But I picked it up because I was going to put it back up there. And when I picked it up, it had a light blinking on the computer. So I knew it was on. It was in sleep mode. And he had been gone like 4 or 5 days. So, I opened it. And as soon as I opened it, it was his laptop. As soon as you open up the laptop, the screen comes back alive from the sleep mode. And it was tranny porn. Or, and it was just like, whoa, I closed it. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, this is something that he's studying to see how to get these people delivered. Or, I made something up in my mind because I could not just accept the fact that I just saw this on this man's computer. And besides, Jesus allegedly is appearing to this guy. So I'm not thinking any type of, bad thoughts about him. I'm not thinking he got a porn addiction or nothing like that at that time. So I've never brought it up. I've never said nothing to nobody, but to hear him get up there week after week after week and talk about that community, but he himself indulges in those things privately, and just like I was mentioning a few minutes ago, how he always saying, I'm a real one. And he asking people to vouch for him. Ain't I'm a real one. Hey, Daniel, I'm a real one, ain't I? Yes, sir, Apostle. No, you ain't no real one. But just like he does that, he always get up there saying, I like what God made me to like. I know what I'm like. God, and he's talking about him liking women. But he has to say that so that you get in your mind, if this type of information ever came out, then you would say, nah, we know Apostle, he don't like nothing but women. We ain't never heard nothing about with him and men. But just wait. Just wait. There's people coming out. Y'all just wait. I've been talking to people, men. You just wait. When these people get strengthened,
They're ready.
They're going to come out and they're going to tell you the truth about the other side of this guy. They're going to tell you about him. And they're going to tell you about their own experiences with this stuff.
Valerie Evans.
See, I don't know him in that.
Valerie Evans says he overly projects.
Overly projects. Overly. I'm telling you, these people know.
David, gay people don't talk that bad, dude.
No, man.
Most straight people don't talk as bad as you do, dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. You are a joke. You always talking about that. I mean, even behind closed doors. Y'all know I like what God made me to like. Y'all know that. No, I don't know that. And matter of fact, it ain't even none of my business. You know what I'm saying? Why? And he's just truly perverted, man. He tells his staff to masturbate. He tells his staff to use sex toys behind closed doors. I don't know what type of churches any of y'all may have been to or go to, but that ain't scriptural. No. You don't see the Messiah teaching that. He tell us to get away from those things because they're destructive. David is full of lust, full of perverted lust. And so I'm glad you sent this list, David, because we can not only talk about me, but we can talk about you. And I'll tell the truth about me, just like I'm gonna tell the truth about you, man. Thank you, David. You gave us a topic tonight, man, because people need to know who you really are.
Does he tell the dudes to like masturbate too?
I've never heard him tell them to, but he's always alluding to it.
Okay.
He's always, Cliff, you jack off. Daniel, you jacking off. You like, dude, why are you thinking about other men jacking off? You know what I'm saying? Like, especially men being visual. There's no way you can say certain things and not have that thought, or that image of the thought. And this guy, all he talk about is sex. And then if you don't want to talk about sex, then he tries to twist and say, you got a demon. Oh, you overly religious. Oh, you holier than thou. He'll say something like that, man. because you don't want to indulge in his filth. He's told his quote unquote spiritual daughters, and you know, like he told Debbie Frazier before. He told her, Debbie, you're not with Rick no more. He's a booty bandit and he wasn't hitting it right. You need to go and get you a sex toy and learn how to make yourself come. This is his quote unquote spiritual daughter. This is how he talks to them. And he said this in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? That's an embarrassing thing to say. And you know, that ain't something you encourage, especially if you're spiritual, because you know the struggle that comes with masturbation and porn and all that other stuff. But he encourages it because he wants you bound, because he knows if you're weak spiritually and you're bound, then he can control you. And you know, moving on to the next one, he said number 4, like I said, he doubled up on some of these things because he doesn't have anything. But he said being caught selling drugs by his ex-wife. She is a witness. So of course my ex-wife, who decided to stay with David and side with David, of course she saw me selling drugs. So as poor as I was there, I wish I had some drug selling money. You know what I'm saying? But he's just lying. You know, he's making things up. Number 5, going to jail for not paying his child support. Said that already, which I'm not going to jail for. Number 6, and this is a funny one to me because he actually thinks this is a knock against me. And I want y'all to comment in the chat and tell me if I was wrong for this, because maybe David's right, but tell me y'all's opinion. He says, he says he was also kicked out or whatever, or not even kicked out. I don't even know how he started this off, but these were points that he said were knocks against me. But number 6 was for me not doing my work while in the cult, and this was why I moved and was put out. And so he's telling people I was put out and that I moved from there because I wouldn't do the cult's work. So y'all tell me this. Would y'all go there, listen to this idiot? Y'all see how he talk to people. Y'all see how he acts. Y'all see the things that he's into. But would y'all go there, give up your entire life, give up all the things you had before you met this guy, leave your family, isolate yourself from family and friends and loved ones, true loved ones, to go and work for this guy for free? Expect not to, never expect to be paid. Don't expect to get any rest. Be isolated from your family that you have within the cult. You can't be around them. You can't sleep with your wife or your husband. You know what I'm saying? Is this something that y'all would sign up for? Is this something that y'all would stay there for? And I know you staff members, I know what y'all saying. I know what y'all saying, but I know you can't say it openly. I know you can't say it out loud. But I know y'all know what I'm saying is true, that I got a point. You busting your butt, you doing all that work
You think the cult
for free.
You think the cult members are watching, bro?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Most of them, no. He don't want them watching anything.
But David's watching, you think?
Oh, yeah. Of course he's watching. He can't help it. He can't help it. He want to turn it off because he don't like what he's hearing, but he can't help it. That's the thing about him. He's too self-absorbed. Even the negative things that are knocks against him, he want to hear it because all he want to do is try to plot how to counter what we're saying. But you can't counter what we're saying because what we're saying is true, David. Your lies gonna fall to the ground. That's why I can get on here and laugh about the stuff you saying about me. I'll get out here and say it all openly. I have nothing to be ashamed of because I truly repented. That was where my fear came from the Most High, not from you. I would have whooped your sorry tail if it was just about you. But it was about the Most High. And once I found out that he ain't really with you, everything just became a joke. I see this for the circus that it is and the clown that you are. And now for number 7, this is my favorite one. This is my favorite one out of everything that he wrote. He says, and the biggest of all is us finding out, to him confessing to his multiple murders to two people. One was another Christian, and also to a guy outside the ministry before he gave his life to Christ, and also to another murder he confessed to doing to a man on the street in St. Louis with a gun in the recent years after he left the ministry. Remember, there is no statute of limitations on murder. He's going to prison this time. He's stupid for even trying to say anything concerning Apostle Taylor when he has so many skeletons in his closet. He will not escape. Yes, you all are interviewing a killer and murderer, and you are a part of his crimes. It will all come out, you F words. And Alex already has a record for being put in jail. So that was his number 7 bullet point, the final one. So
Yeah, I've done some dumb shit in my life, and I did a crime and I had to pay some time. Yes, I did.
Right.
I'm right here though.
Exactly.
So it must have not been that you learn.
That's right. That's right.
Marlon Jones brought up a good shit. Marlon's all, oh man, I'm crying here laughing because with the deposition on the screen, he was up there sitting smelling like shit.
Look at him. You know he stank up there, man. Leaning to the side.
He's
he unbelievable, man.
Let me get that fucking crusty fucking pad out of my asshole. A little chafy there, everybody. Moving side to side.
And to break down this last point and how stupid this sounds, he says, I confessed to multiple murders for a total of 3 people. One of them specifically he mentioned was a Christian man. You know, how, let's hypothetically say any of this was true. How would David know that? You know what I'm saying? He's just throwing out things that sounds good. If he throws in, oh, it was a Christian man, then the Christians won't listen to Cliff when he exposes me. That's what that's about. Then, he says another guy, and then he says, I also confessed to another man on the streets of St. Louis that I allegedly killed with a gun in recent years after I left the ministry. If that be the case, nobody heard from me for 5 years.
Yeah,
when was I in St.
According to David, you're a serial killer, bro.
Yeah, man. I hope my mom's not listening. You figure me out, Mom. He got me. This idiot. And so he's, yeah, I'm a serial killer. I'm Dahmer now, I guess. And so he said that I did that. Oh, and ironically, when I came back to St. Louis, after I left, I went there. Ironically, I was sent there for work on my job, which he say I don't work. Plus we got the dates and if plane tickets, all that. So anybody want to investigate, be my guest. Do your investigation, the whole 9, so we can all laugh at David together, and just see how stupid he is with these lies, and let him tell it. I was a murderer and a serial killer while I was right there next to him. So you're telling me if that was true, you're telling me Jesus didn't tell you this in a dream, but he tell you everything else? You're stupid, David. You come with the most outlandish. I mean, I expected you to say something stupid. I really did. But to hear this, and let me guess, all the witnesses are cult members or people that are connected with you. Never nobody from the outside, right? And just like I was a witness to a lot of the lies back then.
Who's Doug?
I lie. Doug.
Yep.
What was mentioned about Doug?
What about the man that died on the altar and no one could call the police? The wife waiting for David to resurrect him then lied, said Jesus said he prayed, but due to their I was there, David never showed. His name was Doug.
Well, Doug was a very, very, very good man. Him and his wife, who I love very dearly. Shout out to you, sis. Well, David, a man. They were a part of the cult, since David had went up there in 2008, and I won't share much about all of this. Still a touchy subject.
Yep.
And so, but they had been there since David had went up there, and they weren't like on staff where they came to live in St. Louis or nothing like that. But they did love David a whole lot, man, like a whole lot. Really believed in him and things, and this gentleman wound up passing away during the service. And we hear all the time, David's raised this many people from the dead, and he's done that, and he's done this, and he's done that. Well, he has the opportunity. This is one of your quote unquote sons in the gospel. And David goes to the back and he says absolutely nothing. He does nothing. He don't even attempt. Not only was 911 not able to be called right away, but when they came, I heard that they had some issues once they got there, like the EMS. People didn't necessarily want to let them through because they was praying for him to be raised from the dead. But from Doug's widow, she told me, that, and this was recent when I spoke with her. She told me that this stupid idiot David never said nothing to her after her husband passed away. Not only did he not even attempt to pray for him, but he never said nothing to her. And this happened in 2017, right? When this happened 2017 or 2018. Sorry if I'm missing the years, but
good.
It was 2017 or 2018, and David never said nothing to her. He didn't call her. He didn't text for 3 years. 3 years. He never said nothing to her after her husband passed, right in front of everybody.
Some apostle he
for
is.
3 years. Right. Or spiritual father.
Yeah, some spiritual father he is.
Trash.
He should have been right fucking there, right mentoring her right away.
There. And none of us are God. So if David was to pray and he didn't raise up from the dead, that's understandable. No, David ain't God. However, he didn't even attempt, but he talks about it all the time. And so, yeah, she said this punk didn't call or text for 3 years, but he sends her a message on Facebook 3 years after it happens and says, "Sorry, daughter, that it took so long for me to reach out to you. It's just that Doug meant so much to me and I took it hard." That's what this idiot said, man.
Lord Pender,
and
Lord Pender brought up a good point. Another failed prophecy, this time deadly, should be in jail. The fact that the cult members wouldn't let the paramedics through, like, what about those golden minutes where minutes could have mattered?
Exactly.
LP brought up a good
and
point.
This ain't the only time. This was not the only time that something has happened along these lines, but that's for someone else to share openly one day. You know what I'm saying? When they feel comfortable to share that, they will. But this ain't the only time he's done this, and so he definitely needs to be in jail, in my opinion, at the least. for what he's done, because he has no regard for life. He talks about it, but when it comes down to it, he has no regard for life. And if you've listened to David for any amount of time over these years, he's always talked about people dying in his services. Always. Somebody died in my service and I had to raise them up right on the spot. And, he always talked about that. But why are people dying in your services, man? What's going on in there? Something's going on spiritually that cannot necessarily be tracked by, the police or investigators. The outside world can't necessarily see spiritual matters. And so, in my opinion, David does things that can get you caught up spiritually. And when it comes down to it, where this mighty apostle should be able to help you out of that situation, you see that he's weak and powerless.
Where is he?
And in reality, he's the reason why you're in that situation. Yep. He's sick, man.
Yeah, he didn't take the
But it's going to stop.
He didn't call or text because what can he say? I sat face to face with Jesus in some kind of godlike sovereignty that people should respect and fear, but I couldn't save your husband.
Yep.
Yep. What a way to kill somebody's faith right then and there on the spot, huh?
Yeah, man. And she's hurt, man. And I love you, sis. If you're listening right now, we love you, and you're going to get through these things because, she's gone through other things since that's happened. And, it's a rough time, when people leave from there. But I'm a living witness, and there's other people who are living witnesses that there's always sunshine after that storm. And so you're going to get through that soon. And we're here standing with you. And we love you once again.
Yeah. Y'all are fighting a storm right now. It's all right. It's sunny on the other side. Trust me.
That's right.
Cliff just told you he's living proof. It took him a while to get out of the storm, but it's all right.
Yep.
It's always sunny.
That's right.
It's like they say in the Count of Monte Cristo. It doesn't matter how big that storm is, but you got to fucking sit there and laugh in the face of that storm and say, fucking, here I am. Here the fuck I am. Fucking, I'm here.
Here I am.
Here I am. I'm fucking ready. Take the storm.
That's right.
Fight through it. And it's sunny on the other side of this cult, everybody. Cliff is out he's got a good life ahead of him. I mean, things flip for people when you get out of this cult.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. David wants you to think that, I'm possessed and, I'm on my way to hell and I'm just living in misery. No, I'm not. The most misery that I've ever lived in life was while I was there amongst you all, while I was there taking those demonic orders from Satan himself through David. I'm out of that now. And this ain't no gaslighting and, try to be like me and I'm living the great. No. I'm telling you the truth.
Keep talking, Mecca. I'm sorry. There's another member in here that has a family member. And she says, hey, I hope we can connect and talk. It's healing me. It's helping. Keep talking, Mecca. There's other members, other survivors in this chat right now, man.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's other survivors in this chat. Y'all right here. This is it. This is where you guys are.
We out here, y'all.
Yeah, we're here. We're here.
Yes.
Yeah,
y'all ain't alone.
No, you guys aren't alone. Trust me. We're all here. There's members that aren't even a part of this cult. I'm not even religious. I don't go to church. I don't read the Bible. I have my beliefs. And there's very few people that I'll share that with because that's my spirituality is something I guard very closely, right?
Yes.
That's something I guard. I'll never give that up to anybody. Fuck that. That's mine.
That's right.
That's mine. Belongs to me and me alone.
Yeah. Yep. Shout out to Mecca. We praying for your loved one. We believe in the Most High for their deliverance as well. And anything that you may have gone through that you may still deal with, we'll be praying for you too, and we all going to connect. The Most High is bringing us together for a reason. It says that we're overcomers by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. This is why I'm an overcomer, because I've always had the blood of the Lamb, but the word of my testimony, I'm not afraid to speak no more. Y'all don't have to be afraid to speak no more. I stepped out so that y'all can know y'all can do it too. You know what I'm saying? I was already delivered before I ever ever got on any of these interviews with Alex. I was already delivered. But the Most High told me to begin doing it so that y'all can get free too, that y'all can see that I'm an example, that David can get up here and run his mouth every week, and ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I've already showed y'all in the scriptures this evening where the Most High said, if they prophesy prophecies that do not come to pass, and they have dreams that do not come to pass, he say, do not fear them, because he has not spoken to them. He ain't spoke to David. Think about all the stuff he said that's going to happen to you, and it ain't happened. Now think about that scripture and what the Most High said. He said, do not fear them, because he ain't spoke to them. And so everybody that is on the precipice of getting out of there, if you're still in a cult, or if you hear this message later on after you got out the cult because you have blocked me on Facebook, even if this is months or years down the line, listen to what I'm saying to you. There's liberty on this side of things. And he just didn't want you listening to this because you're going to be liberated. David wants to control you. He wanted to control you. And he wants to control you for the rest of your life.
He wants to
or at
control
least
your
the rest
mind.
of his life.
He wants to control your mind,
Yep.
body, and spirit.
That's right. That kind of sounds like Satan, don't it? He want to control you. Where the Most High, he wants you to willfully give yourself to him, where he can use you, but beautiful things come out of it when the Most High uses you. You yield peaceable fruit. People are not burdened down. People do not feel like they're being destroyed when they're around you when the Most High uses you. But when Satan uses you, he wants to control you. He don't want you to willfully give it up. He wants to take it. And that's what David does. He wants to take your free will that the Most High has given to you. And so don't let him do that.
What's the one thing that God gives us?
Free will. That's it. And why does Satan hate us so much? Because he had free will and we got free will. But with his free will,
Fucked it up.
he wasn't given another chance. And so that's why he hates humanity. And so when he gets in a person, that's the first thing he wants to do with that other person is use them to take your free will. That's why you see men and women who are in abusive relationships with a spouse. They don't have any free will. They're being beat. Some of them are, being sexually assaulted and raped. That's Satan. They're under a control that if they could just stop it and turn the switch off, they would. But because they can't, he continues to use them. And so this is what's happening to y'all. He's using y'all through the means of witchcraft. And I was just like y'all, praying against demons, and I wasn't afraid of no demons, but you don't have to be afraid of a demon in order for that demon to use you. All he has to do is make himself act like he's not even there, or slap the name God or Jesus on it, and you think that's who it is controlling your life. But I'm going to tell you, since I got out of there, I found out the truth. I'm able to really make contact with heaven now. When I was there, no prayers were getting through. It was like a brass ceiling. All my prayers came right back down. Number one, because David gets you into sin. He wants you to sin against the Most High because he don't want the Most High to listen to your prayers.
Because he wants to
He
wants to spiritually blackmail you.
That's it.
Yep.
He does.
He wants to spiritually blackmail you.
And
He wants you to be a pig like him. Don't fall into his fucking pigsty.
That's right.
Don't fall into his David's pig pen.
That's right. And if he can get you to sin without recognizing that you're sinning against the Most High, because you think that, well, Apostle said I can do this, or Apostle does that, so let's do it like this. You don't even think that you're sinning, but you are. And so you're never repenting for those things that you're doing. And so because you're never repenting, the Most High is not even listening to your prayers. And so that's what David wants. That's what Satan wants. If the Most High ain't listening to your prayers, guess what? It's going to be that much harder for you to get delivered from out of there. but you're going to have to go against the grain. You're going to have to tell yourself, hey, snap out of this. David is a liar. Not you thinking he's a liar. You know he a liar. You see what he lie about behind closed doors. You see the contradictions, but you're afraid to call him out. But this is why he does what he does, because he don't want you to recognize how he's operating this stuff. And so once he gets you into sin and to doing the things that he does, he got you thinking that you're okay because he's doing it, and you think that he's a holy man. But in reality, the Most High don't listen to David's prayers. That's why you see him crumbling right before your very eyes these days. And that's why he ain't listening to your prayers, because you're following in David's footsteps. And so, like David teaches out of his own mouth, a person cannot produce what they are not. So he's producing a bunch of sexual deviants. A lot of y'all, some of y'all were virgins when y'all went to that cult. You're not virgins anymore. Some of y'all had already been delivered from lust, but you got back into it, and this time it's even stronger. Some of y'all have gone through abuse and molestation before you got to the cult, and then you come to the cult thinking you're going to be healed and delivered, only to come back into molestation.
David uses, I
But
know that for a fact. I know that for a fact. What you just said, I know that as fucking fact because people have called and told me. I'm not going to say who, but I know. But I fucking know. And you know what? No, he doesn't fucking heal you. He fucking uses that as a fucking tactic to just dig his greedy little fucking sick, greasy fucking rat claws into people's fucking souls, man, and just obliterate them.
That's so true, brother.
Sucks their fucking will to live. You
man,
watching you, David, you motherfucker.
We see you, boy.
We see you. Yeah. David probably thought this would never happen. No, yeah. David, I know.
It's here now, and it ain't no escape.
No.
You say we not going to escape. Guess what, David? We not running and hiding. You are. And another thing I'll say, while you trying to assassinate my character, you punk, one thing I can say about me, and that you can't refute, is that ain't no law enforcement ever came to the cult because I was there. You can't say that about them guys you got there now can you? You can't say that about yourself now, can you? But ain't no law enforcement ever came. 10 years I was there. They ain't never came looking for me. But they come looking for people now. Why is that, David? How is that? That's very contradicting. You try to make me seem like I've been a troublemaker and all this. Yeah, I might have frustrated you personally because I wasn't a yes man, because I didn't do everything you said do, because I still knew I was my own person outside of what you talking about. But the other people, they'll just do what you say do. I'm not stupid like that. And I'm gonna tell you, Alex, this is another true story. This was in 2016. All right. You know how I told y'all before how Michelle, David had got on her about what she did with all her money or whatever.
Yep.
So she had a Camaro that had got repossessed.
Michelle did?
And yeah, Michelle did. And it was what was this? It was Cinco de Mayo 2016. And we had all went to we was all out of St. Louis at the little parade and festivities or whatever for Cinco de Mayo. And this is where they repossessed her car at, from the street. They came and took it, and we see the tow truck pulling off. We running down the street. Yo, wait, what's going on? Woo, woo. And Michelle, she's acting dumbfounded, like, no, I don't know why they're taking my stuff. Meanwhile, I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, she ain't pay that, because I've heard David talk to her behind closed doors. So, but everybody else, they're looking like, Michelle is being done wrong, and, they shouldn't be taking her car. So later that night, man, she has, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 of us. We're going to this tow yard where they took her car to, It's on the other side in Illinois, across the river. So she take like 5 or 6 of us, some of the guys, and she like, uh, they took my car and they weren't supposed to take it. Woo, 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 we need to get my car back. Now, mind you, this place is closed, and she wanted some of these guys, and I say some of these guys because I know she wasn't stupid enough to think that I would do it, but she wanted some of these guys to jump over the fence, go in there, and take her car from out of this tow yard. And
Out of a
I'm
fucking
thinking to myself,
out of an impound yard.
yes,
Okay.
yes, with guard dogs, and there was guys still in there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, I know these guys got some guns in there and stuff. And
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm telling you, man, they watch too much Hollywood, bro. Like, yeah, we're just gonna throw our coat over the barbed wire. I'm gonna boost you up. You're gonna jump over the fence, jump in there, get in the car, bust through the gate with the car. They got all these weird thoughts, man. But I'm thinking like, no, this ain't real life, and I'm not gonna be a part of it. What I look like stealing your car from an impound lot because you didn't pay your bill.
Yeah, let's go commit
Make it make sense.
Let's go commit grand theft because I didn't pay my fucking bill.
Come on, dog. And she ain't even gonna do it herself.
Yeah.
She gonna have the other guys do it.
I'm gonna go make these guys commit grand theft because I don't pay my fucking car bill.
Yes, man. She's a stupid idiot like that. And I'm just like, yeah. She's I'm telling you, man, it'll be one thing if she was stupid enough to do it herself, but she wanted to get other people to do it for her. And these guys were stupid enough to do it. And, I didn't just come out and tell them like, man, y'all some stupid idiots. We ain't gonna do this. But I talked them out of it. Like, man, all them people in there and, these, I just made something up.
They're most likely strapped.
Yeah, I know for a fact they was, man. Come on, dude.
Yeah, she would go to jail for conspiracy. Like, say they did do it, and say somebody got hurt, and they said, "Hey, she fucking told us to do it." Hey, well, guess what? You're going down for conspiracy to murder and shit. You conspired with these guys, committed crime, and now somebody got hurt. Guess what? You're all getting charged now.
Yeah, you charged for the same thing. Yeah, man. It's the type of mind control that they have there. Like, they really thought breaking and entering, you know what I'm saying? And then Grand Theft Auto was a good idea for the kingdom of God.
Did she ever get the car back?
I don't think she did get that car back. Okay. She was using one of David's cars for a little bit, and then he wound up getting her a Mercedes, and that was the last car that she had when I had left from there.
So he bought Michelle a Mercedes then, huh?
Yep, and that was in 2017. Okay. I'm not sure if she still has that car or not, but yeah, he bought that one for her. Yep.
So it's like David buys all of his women's cars and shit like that, right? It's like that's his way.
No, not all of them.
That's
there's different tiers of women.
Oh, okay. Well, Michelle
he treat them all differently.
Michelle was definitely top tier, and so was Vicky for some reason.
Vicky, I'll say she was top tier because of her influence. Mm-hmm. Michelle is top tier because she brings in the money. But, and to be top tier, if you're not bringing in money or have a lot of influence, you got to be like very beautiful to him. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, something vain. And then, he might spend a little bit more money on you or buy you more gifts, but that, and he might like he bought them cars, you know what I'm saying? That's as far as it'll go, but he's not going to marry them. He will not marry them.
No,
he'll give those gifts. Like some of them girls, they just happy enough to get if he bought them a double cheeseburger, oh, Apostle bought me a burger. They think that's everything. Wow. Because they believe all the lies he sells them, man. It's sad.
It's like when he does something little for them, it's like the biggest thing in the world, huh?
Yeah.
It's like they've actually been touched by the hand of God type deal, huh?
Yeah, man. And I want to say something real quick. I want to say something to Kathleen, Sister Kathleen. I love you, sis. you know, I have nothing bad to say about you. You know, I don't agree with everything, every decision. You know, that's human. But I have nothing bad to say about you. But I saw you last week when you did that video for David for his birthday, and it broke my heart
I did too,
because
Kathleen.
I know firsthand how you've been with him from the time he's gotten up there. I saw, you know, I don't necessarily know all the details of what it was with your ex-husband, but according to the pattern that I've seen, it looked like David had a lot to do with you making that decision to finally end it with your husband in hopes of being with David. I know he's told your mom, I know he's told your girls that he was going to marry you. And obviously he's told you that. Um, we've been many places together, me, you, and David. You know, I've drove y'all around on dates. You know, you've come over to the house, different things, come down to St. Louis at different times because you believe the lie. And I heard you said that no matter what, no matter how many women may come on and say something, no matter what happens or whatever the case, you're going to stand with David. And as a grown woman, you have every right to do that. But talking to you as your brother, I tell you that I feel for you. And I'm sorry that I've lied to you over those years where, you know, when you were crying and you were feeling some type of way, and David would try to, or he had me to tell you that, you know, there's no other women and that you were tripping. You weren't tripping. You were right. Yes, though, all those women are there and they were there. But sis, you deserve better. Not, and I'm not even speaking about only a relationship with a man. I'm just saying in general, you deserve better. You do not deserve to be treated like that. And your daughters are watching you, and they're going to grow up going through those same type of patterns if you don't take a stand.
How long have the
And those
daughters?
sweet girls,
How long have?
uh-huh.
How long has Kathleen been involved along with the daughters? I have a big question on that because they have a video. Oh well, he came to us when I was 8, and this and that, and you know, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh shit.
yeah, yeah. Kathleen has been there just as long as me and Ashley, 15 years. So it's 15 years now. Matter of fact, on August the 2nd would have been exactly 15 years to the date that we moved from Cleveland to St. Louis. And Kathleen and like Steve, uh, and some of the other people who are still there from that original church that was there in Taylor, it's been 15 years for them all.
I believe.
So
I
yeah,
believe. I believe
those young
girls.
girls were very small.
I believe those girls were groomed up in it.
Yeah, most
I
definitely,
believe
brother.
David has slept with those girls and he groomed them when they started developing. Like, oh, look at the fuck, I'm gonna start. Go ahead, and start.
Yeah, you can see the transition in them girls, man. Not just them, but just the women in general. You see how they start to dress differently. You see they change their hair. They wear this makeup. Like I don't know what this thing is now, man. I was looking at last week during the birthday thing, but I, all the women have these clown eyebrows. I don't know what this is they have going on. It's a weird looking thing, and I don't know if that's something David is into, but ladies, them eyebrows look strange. I'm gonna tell you that now. Just like the hairy legs, it's strange. David may like it, but it looks strange. And y'all don't have to appeal for him. Y'all don't have to dress and make yourself up for this guy. You looking just like all them other ladies there. And that's why, because he's sleeping with them too. And y'all deserve better than that. You know, and David, you better stop. Especially when it comes to them young ones. You better stop. Hear my voice, David. You better stop. That's coming from me. You better stop.
Nah, he's groom. He's grooming. We know he's been grooming. We just
Oh yeah, I know for sure
yeah,
he is.
we know he's been grooming, but it just need a little more confirmation from people on the inside to see the behavior to let us know because we know what we know about grooming. We know what we know about human trafficking and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine
Maxwell.
Maxwell fucking set a standard. Yeah, No, they set
Yeah,
a
they
fucking
did, man.
they set a fucking standard for human trafficking. They got so good at it that they weren't even doing the ones being the fucking groomers, dude. It was the other people. It was the women
Man.
below them. And David and Michelle have got that good.
Oh yeah, they definitely got that. They definitely got that.
Billy says, my wife believes this shitty ass fuck is still in Shutaway. Talk to her, Billy.
Man,
Talk to her, Billy.
for real, bro. Because I'm gonna tell you, let's say, hey Billy, let's say he is in Shutaway, right? This Shutaway place he talk about. I've been in there with him. That ain't stopping him from having sex with none of these women. They come to the Shutaway place, this quote unquote most holy place on earth, where Jesus and God is allegedly appearing face to face, walking through walls, and he having sex in that very place. I know that because they came up to the church in Port Huron when he was in that Shutaway place, allegedly. There was women coming to the church, having sex in the church. Tell me I'm lying, David. Put your soul on the line and tell me I'm lying. Because I'm not. Yeah, he was having sex with them women in the church while he was allegedly in Shutaway. And then he talks about how, he got this message from Jesus while he was in that Shutaway. No, what David does, he listens to a lot of different preachers. He listens to a lot of different teachings, a lot of different things. And he takes bits and pieces. And he'll take some things that he knows for certain that most people have not heard mainstream. And then he'll use it as his own message. And he'll say he got this revelation from God because it'll be hard for you to track where it come from. But over these years, since I've been away from David, I've been doing my studying and learning. And I've come across a lot of this stuff, like the face-to-face message that wasn't really his. That's not really his. There's other people who've talked about the same type of crap, the lies. I've got a face-to-face relationship like Jesus had, or with Jesus like they had 2,000 years ago. David ain't the first one. He might be the first one that you've heard. But when you do your research, you'll find out there's other people who said the same crap and have had mind control over people the same way that he does. And rest in peace, Pastor Stephen Darby, who David has stolen so much material from. Even the whole, that's right, I said it, that come from Pastor Darby. Pastor Darby used to call this punk out. He used to call David out all the time. And that man was a true spiritual father. Y'all should watch Pastor Darby's staff, and you'll see where a lot of this stuff come from. You'll see the things that David tried to take from him and spin it as his own. Even when David started wearing that leather jacket and he started wearing the baseball cap in his service.
Yeah, what the fuck
that came
was
from
up with
Pastor
that?
Darby. See, he tried to take this look from, Pastor Darby, when Pastor Darby spoke and he would say certain things, it just came natural because that was him. But when David does things, it ain't natural. So it's like, what are you doing, man? It looks weird. It comes off strange. And so when I started looking, I'm like, oh, this is where David got this from. And so, because I remember when I got there, there was certain things David just was not talking about. Just like he wasn't talking about none of this gangster stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I talk to your hometown, David. I talked to the ones who was really living it since we've been doing these interviews. They've heard it. And they once again verified that you ain't never lived that life, that you are a joke, that you've always been a spectator from the outside. You ain't did nothing in those streets, man. You ain't did nothing. And so if y'all still believe in that lie, shame on you, because he's been exposed. And the fact that all he gonna do is get up here and talk and run his mouth and speak in subliminals yet again, that should let you know what he really about, which is nothing but running his mouth. So yeah, Alex, it don't matter what avenue you find David on, he's gonna find a way to pervert something, man. Whether it's sexual, whether it's emotional, mental, spiritual, he's gonna pervert it to try to use it to his advantage against people.
Can, what what was the living conditions like for the men inside the building at the main headquarters?
Man, so what it was for the men, like during this time, uh, was like 2016. This was like the height of it, because at the end of 2015 was when the deposition got released publicly, and so it started going out everywhere, and it's getting millions of views all over the place, and so um, David, of course, he wants to do damage control and everything. So what he said, at least, I don't even know if this is true, but he said that there were dreams given about somebody burning the building down through arson. And so he had me go up there, like, what was that? Early 2016. I went up there from St. Louis, and then there was a bunch of guys up there. So the women, they were staying, in some of the houses, like in Detroit, and then also in St. Louis still. So during that time, he had us living in that building. We were doing shifts 24 hours, around the clock. There was always somebody up walking around, guarding, checking the perimeter, that whole thing. So while we're living there, at this point, it's still just pretty much a concrete slab with 4-cylinder walls, cylinder block walls. And so we are in this place. I took one of the ministry cards, and I went and got me a cot to sleep on. And but most of them guys, they're just sleeping on maybe a blanket and a sheet, on plywood upstairs inside of that place.
Still?
And
You think still?
huh?
You think still?
Not now, but back then for sure.
Okay.
There was, the reason why I say not now is because, or at least, maybe a few guys may stay there, but as 20, 30 guys, how it was, it's not like that. I don't think, at least. But people were calling the fire marshal and things like that to get all that busted up, to make sure David got everything up to code. And so, but while we were there, man, there was no showers or nothing like that. But the people were stinking. The guys were stinking. So some of them would go to, let's say, what was it, Planet Fitness or one of the gyms, because one of the guys had a membership, and he'd take guys back and forth
That's one
so
of
they
them.
could shower over there.
Big shout out to Tommy Gunn. That's our guy. That's our guy.
Okay.
Yeah. That's our guy. He came
Shout
in.
out.
He actually came in and said, I would take guys to the gym because they weren't showering. And he's all, I had a gym
Yeah,
I had a membership to the gym. He's also, I would take him. He's
I
all,
remember that.
he was all, dude, these guys, he was like, dude, cleanliness is next to godliness. He's like, dude, we needed to stay clean. So I would take him to the gym.
Hmm.
That's our guy.
I remember that.
Tommy Gunn. Shout out, bro.
Shout out to you, bro.
Yep.
I appreciate you, man, for doing that for them guys. Cause like for me, like I said, I had access to them cards and stuff, so I can go and get the things that I needed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Push come to shove if I really need to. But them guys, they didn't have that access, and so shout out to you, Tommy, man, for looking out for them guys, man. And so yeah, they were staying in that place, and then they wound up building a shower in there, and it was bad, man. Like, I mean, guys stink. It's
Yeah.
the summertime too. And like when I left from there, I had before I left from there, I had bought a few more cots, and they were some of the good ones that's like close to $100, so
Yeah.
that them guys could have something to sleep on. And then I bought a few cheaper ones, and because that way, like when I was spending that card, as long as it wasn't no crazy amount of money, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
or one purchase that was a crazy amount, David really ain't bat an eye to it. So I could get smaller things, and he don't even really pay attention to it. So I would do that for the guys sometimes. Then sometimes like uh uh you know, just in case some guys, wanna side with David and his lies, and you guys who was smoking them blunts with me, remember we'd go to Burger King on David's card. We'd get us some Whoppers to feed our munchies. Yeah, that was on David, man. We would do them types of things. Oh yeah, we get high. After our work day, we'll go up to the park. Just away from everything, and it'll be some R&R. Just relax, and then go back and shower, get us some rest before we have to do it all again the next day. And so yeah, when I had Davis cards, I would spend, not crazy, but a little bit more at my own leisure, because you're not about to just not pay us completely and then we not getting nothing out of it. So I would do things like that for the guys, man. And then like I said, them conditions, I mean, it was bad, man. It was hot in there, no AC, and then you're living upstairs, so heat rises. There's
So
no
wait,
insulation, no
so
ventilation.
there's no AC in that building.
Now there may be, but back then it wasn't. No,
Okay. Okay.
nah,
Okay.
no. The roof was still leaking. It was a bad time, man. But we just took it on the chin. We thought we was in the trenches. We doing this for the kingdom of God. Anything the man of God wanted us to do, we here to do it. So we took it as a badge of honor to suffer, when in
Okay.
reality we getting played, man.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That makes sense. So David's
yeah,
playing with everybody spiritually then, like, and he's making it think like they're doing this great thing for the kingdom when it's actually David just
exactly.
sitting back, kind of giving everybody the shit end of the stick, right? Or in David's case,
That's exactly what's happening.
the shit end of the pad, right? Yeah.
Yep.
He's leaking. He's leaking morality. All right. He's leaking fucking shit's fucking morality. That's what he's leaking. That's why he fucking wears maxi pads. Fucking maxi.
Toys.
Fucking maxi pad Moses right here. Fuck, dude. Yeah, it shows how cheap David is. No AC. Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and work my fucking cult members and not pay him. And hey, you know what? At the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and put him in this hot ass fucking building. And guess what? You guys have to
Yeah.
sleep upstairs and not take a fucking shower. You guys can go ahead and live in your
Yep.
filth.
And you know what? During this time, as a matter of fact, Chin, he was still there. Love you, bro, if you're listening, man. And he was in charge. Him and Joseph was in charge at this point. Because David, Michelle, and the majority of the quote unquote leaders, they had went to Israel. And so during this time, the gentleman who passed away, Doug, that we spoke about earlier, him and his wife actually took me and another guy on different occasions during this time that David was gone. But they took me out to their house, and they got like, they put together this package for me, man, like a box, and in there it had like vitamins and herbs and different things, man, to help my health. You know what I'm saying? To make sure I stay strong and
Yeah.
vital as I've been doing all these things, because they know we don't go to the doctor. They know we don't have access to health care and stuff. And yeah, man, soaked my feet, gave me a massage, and all of this stuff that I've never, David never even gave a $25 gift card. Hey man, y'all work hard, go get a massage somewhere. But this woman and her husband did this for me, man, and I'll never forget them for that. Truly, truly were a blessing. And but during this time, uh, like I said, Chin and Joseph was in charge of the building, and so it was a horrible thing, man, because
Mhm.
I could see where Chin was starting to be worn down, because it was like, when your parents leave out of town and then you got to watch your little siblings, and then the little ones, they just going wild and crazy because they finally got some freedom away from the parents. That's how it was for Chin and Joseph. Like them guys, they were just having a ball, and so it was hard at times to reel them in to do their work and stuff like that. But that's what happens when you got adults who can't be adults and just live their life. You know what I'm saying? So now they just start wilding out. Nothing crazy, but they just couldn't get them to do their cult work. And like I said, David didn't care. All he cares about is if you do what he say do. And then back to the AC. There was no AC during that time, and for years upon years upon years upon years, bro, David was quote unquote raising this money for ACs. I'm talking about at least 5 years straight. He's talking about, yeah, we're gonna get an AC for next August during the crusade against cancer. Next August come, no AC. All he would do was rent a big fan and put it in the door, and it will blow. And it was one of the fans you like hook the water up to it,
Yep.
and then it'll blow like a cool mist type thing. But that was it. He did that for years and years and years. So I don't know if they have AC now or not. I would hope so. But
I highly doubt that they do. David's too much of a fucking cheapskate to fix the AC, because you know what it would cost to run AC on that building?
yeah, but the only reason I would think that he probably
Oh no, Trip
does
Nine said he got AC.
is because he's okay. I was just about to say the only reason I would think that he does is because I believe that's where he's staying at, and I know his big self ain't gonna have no AC. He'll fry like bacon, because he sweats even with the AC on, man. I mean, you see him up there. All his clothes got the armpit stains, and that's what he's talking about. He sweats through all his clothes. Everything got armpit stains. He stinks, man. He's dirty.
Dude, we've seen him
He's
wear
filthy.
we've seen him wear the same fucking suit for like a fucking week in a row.
Yeah, he'll do that. Talking about God's glory is on it.
Will he wash
No,
them in
your
between?
feces smell it.
Will he wash them in between or no?
No, not when he wear them for a week straight. Like,
When he's up doing the crusades, like that, the 1 week we saw him do the fucking crusade in that brown suit. Did he wash that motherfucker?
yeah,
or no?
No. He do not take them things to the cleaners until after he's finished.
What a sick fuck.
Not until after he's done.
Oh, dude, I bet when he takes it to the cleaners, it's probably like a fucking paste in his fucking drawers, man.
Man, I'm telling you, I know what that stuff smells like. And as we speak about it, I can smell that, man. He stinks, bro.
Does he really?
And so
I would think like his overall body odor, it probably isn't that pleasant, I'm guessing, right?
like he wears a lot of cologne. He puts on different oils that are scented. So like when he's out the shower or whatever, he don't stink. But like once he gets going throughout his day, he does. You know what I'm saying? And there'll be days just like you mentioned how y'all seen him wearing one suit jacket every single day during the crusade, right? Well, he'll do that at home. When he gets home, he'll get in the bed and he'll stay in that bed for like 3 or 4 days straight. He'll get up, to use the bathroom or whatever, or maybe talk on the phone. He'll pace around his room while he's on the phone. But other than that, he's in the bed eating. We bring him his food, breakfast in bed, dinner in bed, lunch in bed. And then he may get up and shower if a woman is coming over. But other than that, he'll stay in his filth for 3 or 4 days. Like, I don't care if I'm staying at home for a month straight. I'm getting up and I'm cleaning my body, man.
Yep.
He won't do that. And, he'll say, man, just, don't change my sheets. Just shake them off. You know what I'm saying? And then he'll have a woman come over.
Yeah, somebody Worship with Words said, looks like he stinks, though.
Yeah, he does.
When you're wearing a pad like that, and fucking wearing some crusty ass underwear, and those motherfuckers would probably stand him up stiff on the fucking on the end. Somebody said here just a minute ago, his fucking underwear are stiff. Curly girl, yeah, he probably could flip those motherfuckers upside down. They'd probably stand up on the fucking like the waistband and shit, and they're just fucking like stand up straight.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He is sick, man.
Mecca Cliff, why does his towel be so wet? Guys would come to my hotel to wash his towel, smelled like mildew.
There you have it. You know, if it's the towels from if it's the towels like from when he's up there preaching and stuff, you know, he's sweating, you know, wiping his head or whatever. But uh he that's the thing, man. And I'm glad Mecca brought this up because I forgot all about this too, right? So this guy, I mean, you stink, that's you. You know what I'm saying? But he would get mad because I would, when I would wash his towels, and I'm talking about wash them, put them right in the dryer, get them right out and fold them, right? They will smell like mildew when they come out of the washer and stuff. And so he acts like it's my fault. You're not putting enough detergent in there. Dude, I'm putting like a quarter of this big thing of Downy in here and Tide for one load, and it still come out stinking. That's you. You know what I'm saying? And so you're doing this wrong. And so I want, you know, he mentioned he wanted somebody else to do his towels and stuff. Fine. So they did them. They have the same issue. You're not doing them right. Well, and then he says, "Well, my mom washed my stuff. It never smelled like this." You know, like, we'll go down there and have your mom wash your clothes then, or wash them yourself, even better. You know, and so he tried to blame us because he had doodle stains in his drawers when they would come out the washer. And that's why I brought up that point the last time, because the guy who came after me, he took his time to scrub his underwear. I would not do that.
Oh yeah,
And
fuck that.
you know, yeah, you throw them in your hamper, and then I'll just dump your hamper into the washer, and we'll wash them like that. But I'm not touching them, man. You know, and you know, but like I said, he wants to talk about cleanliness and excellence. He's none of that. If there was not people around doing it for him, it would not be done. I've never seen him clean his own cars. You know, and he's the one who loved the cars.
That's what I'm saying. If everybody just up and left David, like he would become a hoarder. He would just be
Yeah, he
fucking,
would.
he would basically just fill his entire fucking existence up with fucking boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts and fucking Burger King, bro. And that's
Yep.
it.
That's it, man.
That's it.
And that will all be DoorDash. He won't even leave the house to get it.
Dude,
He's too much of a coward to come out.
We fucking called DoorDash, dude. We called DoorDash a while ago. Like, David's too much of a bitch to leave the house. He probably just calls DoorDash all the fucking time. Does he? Does he?
See, when I was there, you know, the DoorDash and Uber Eats and all that, it wasn't popping yet.
Yeah.
You know, they were in existence, but they wasn't popping yet. So we were still out running to get them. But man, I didn't even think about that, you know, until I just said it now, man. But yeah, I'm sure he does that because now the guys don't even have to leave the house. See, that was a breather for us. When we had to go get his food and stuff, we could get away from him. But now all they got to do is order it. So, man, I feel for them guys, man, because they probably don't even get to leave from him now.
David,
You
let's
know.
call it fucking DoorDash at Grubhub. Hey, we got Grubhub on speed dial here, everybody. It's fucking called Grubhub. Yeah, that was dirty, David. Like the fucking the dodgeball thing where it's got Ben Stiller and he's like after he fucking like loses his gym and shit, and he's like sitting there with all the food crumbs on him. I know, Urania22 says David should just use a disposable adult diapers. Yeah, he could be the Depends disciple. Yeah.
Yeah. What you call him, the destined disciple?
The destined disciple, yeah. No, somebody else. When I see that, I make them into thumbnails when people drop funny ass shit.
Okay.
And I made one today called the destined disciple. The title of this one, the thumbnail on this one is called Maxi Pad Moses. David's like, yo, fuck those guys. He's why'd Cliff tell everybody my secret?
Yeah, hey, and then I got word that he's threatening, some of these people now, talking about, oh, I see you're siding with Cliff. He looking at me. He don't even recognize that the Most High is waking people up, and we are on to you, David. It ain't about siding with Cliff.
Nah.
It could be me or anybody else, you dummy. And so that's what he tries to do. He talk about you're either with me, you're with him, like they gotta choose.
Or you're
You
against
know what I'm
them, you're
saying?
with them.
We choose. Yeah.
God,
Like,
God
like
didn't.
David, ain't nobody with you.
Yeah, God never forced anybody to choose David.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Not you.
David just used diapers, bro. He said, well, yeah, that probably would have been a good idea here in the deposition. That way I could have just shit my pants. Could have just shit my pants instead of actually sharding, Make everybody smell my fucking asshole.
Yeah, man. Just
Yeah, no, and you know what? I've had people who've contacted me too said, yep. No, he didn't sign an NDA, Marlon Jones. No. No, he didn't sign an NDA. Did you? You didn't sign an NDA, did you, Cliff? I don't think you did.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I signed one years back.
Oh, so
And
you
Marlon
did?
Jones.
Oh, you did sign
Marlon
an
Jones,
NDA.
I piss on it and I'll wipe my behind with it. That's what I tell you
So
I'll
you
do with
did
it.
sign
Yeah, I
that.
signed one.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, bring it up, David. Yeah, I signed one.
okay.
Bring
So
it up, David.
yeah,
Let's see what come out of it.
hey, yeah. If your pastor comes to you and asks you to sign an NDA, hey, guess what? You should fucking turn around. First, you fucking probably spit in the guy's face. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I would spit in the
That's the way
motherfucker's
to
face.
go.
Yeah. David Estrogen Taylor. Oh yeah, Avi Abara asked,
Yeah.
like, what's up with the feminine voice? And we're gonna close and wrap it up. It's 10 o'clock, man. We ran a 3-hour stream, dude. We fucking knocked it out of the park tonight.
Oh man.
Fucking killed it tonight,
Awesome.
man. Yeah, we got 62 people in here watching. Smash that thumbs up. And let's go ahead and wrap it up with the last question from Avi Abara. David talks in
Okay.
this feminine voice. What's up with that, bro? Can you tell us about that behind closed doors? What it's like? We see him all fucking meek and pathetic in the deposition, and he comes out and talks all bold and like he's this badass. But we know David, is soft. Can you explain a little bit about the lotion ass voice that he's got?
Yeah, man. So it's mind boggling to me too. Because the first time I heard it, I'm like, what's up with this guy? I'm thinking to myself, because all I had heard before I met him was, his preaching, the boldness and everything. But then when when I spoke to him on the phone, the first night I had gotten there to St. Louis, he was out of town, and his now ex-wife had called him on the phone so we could talk to him for a quick second. He gets on the phone. He says, "Hi, this is your friend David E. Taylor." And I'm thinking, "No, this ain't the same guy," And I'm like, "All right, man, maybe he a little bit under the weather or something." Then I see him in person. He came back, to St. Louis, and hi, Cliff. Hi, Ashley. Oh, just like. Oh, okay. And then I'm thinking, do Jesus talk like this, or is this just him? Because it was weird to me, man. And then I see, he's like that. And then when he's trying to come off like he's not a scumbag, like during the deposition, he'll put on that voice. But they see straight through that crap. And then but that's who he really is. He's a little coward. That's his real voice. All this boldness and stuff, that ain't him. That's just when he's offended and when he gets mad. David, he's like one of these little boys or girls that we all went to school with in elementary, middle school, maybe even high school. They were always mad and offended about something, and they couldn't fight, but they was always huffing and puffing and trying to start a fight. But then once you bring a fight to them, they cry foul, or they want to play victim. And so he's just like that, except he's not getting beat up physically. Spiritually he is. And so he throws these hissy fits, and he's a hothead. So because he's a hothead and he got a temper, he wants, and he talks real big and tough. He wants people to think that he's really this gangster, and he ain't, or a former gangster, and he ain't never been. And so that's what it is. That's his real voice. When he gets around these women, he puts that voice on, and some of them even called him out like, dude, why are you talking like that? That's weird.
Really?
You know, and he,
So they're calling out General Gooch Grease
man,
here, huh?
yeah, they call him out because they like, you know, some of them women, they, and I feel like they was questioning, you know, sexuality, you know, the
Yeah.
way they're asking them, like, why are you talking like that? You know, and what do you mean? That's just how I speak. You know, I'm not always the lion, the general. You know, I'm just like, man, this guy is sick out here, man.
It's like,
And so yeah, that's why he puts on that voice, because that's who he really is. He's really a coward, and you know, and that's the reason why he won't leave from that church or wherever he's at now. He won't leave out. He's not in Shutaway. He's not allowed back in his hometown. He's not allowed to go in many places that you would think he would be able to go to. And it's because other people have said he can't come back. And yeah, David, we know you a coward. You know, we were speculating that you were, but I talked to your peoples, man. You are a coward. You ain't allowed back in your city.
no, that's
But
facts.
guess what?
I know he's not. I know people up in St. Louis don't want him around.
St. Louis or Memphis, his hometown where he come from. But I can go back to my hometown of Cleveland, David, without security, and I can go and see my children there, and I can go and do this, and I can go and do that, because I haven't screwed people over. I don't have a path of destruction everywhere I've gone. So I can go back home, even though I've done, you know, while I was in the cult and I was brainwashed, even though I had, you know, done my family wrong by not talking to them and, you know, cutting them off, so to speak, I can go back because I never disrespected my family purposely. And they understand that. But you, on the other hand, you've disrespected your family. You've disrespected your friends, the people that had loved you before this whole ministry stuff ever started. And you've burned all of them bridges, man. You ain't welcome back to your own hometown. You ain't welcome back to St. Louis and them other places. You ain't welcome back. That's why you can't leave from where you're at. Nobody likes you. Nobody likes you as a person, let alone the false apostle or false prophet. They definitely don't like that. But nobody likes you as a person. You're not likable. And as you say, you're not persecuted because of the gospel. People are only calling you out about your filth, not about what you preach and teach. They call you out for how you treat people and how you destroy marriages. I can count on one hand right now off top 6 marriages that have been destroyed since the time I've known you, let alone the ones before you.
I can count 5 right now that I know of.
Right off top, easily. And that's just what we know.
That's just what we know. That's 11.
You know what I'm saying?
David, that's 11 fucking marriages that we know of right off the top, you piece of shit.
Yeah.
11 marriages that you fucked up, dude. That's 11 dudes that are probably really fucking pissed at you.
Well, 10, because I'm not. You can have her. You can have her if it's up to me, brother. You can have my ex. You can have her as you've had her. Because she's already told me she's going to stand with you no matter what. And so that's 10 out of 11 of them guys. Because I know a lot of them, and David know too, that some of them wanted to take his life. And I was never one of them. I looked at it as a way out of a destructive marriage. So I was never mad about it.
So wait, people were actually putting threats against David's life because of what he'd done?
Oh, yeah, they told him directly.
Oh, okay.
They told him directly,
So
and that's why he wanted, and that's why he wanted me to take the blame, because he knew these men were serious. And I would go to them and tell them it was me who was talking to your wife, because they trusted him as a quote unquote apostle or a spiritual father, and he took their wives and had sex with them. But you know, me, they were like, you know, they didn't like it, of course, but it wasn't as much of a slap in the face as somebody that they trusted with their life. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, And I'm sure all of them men ain't healed. I'm sure they not, because David just want to brush everything under the rug and act like even if somebody gets mad at him for something that they should be mad about, like they're the bad guys. But David, I'm telling you, this demonic, I don't even know what to describe it as, but this demonic force field or protection that you've been having all these years, it's over. It's over. You're not escaping this, spiritually or physically. You're not escaping. So I hope you're listening loud and clear. And as we get off this phone, you better think twice about the next messages that you decide to send. You better think twice about the next words that you allow to come out your fat, stinking mouth, because you're going to eat these words. Every curse that you put out, boy, you're going to eat them up. And all of y'all who's speaking these curses and sending these messages along with David, you better repent too. Because I told y'all from the very beginning, staff, I got no ought against y'all because I was in y'all position. But I'm telling you now, y'all better repent. Do not follow this man, because he's blind spiritually and he's leading you into a ditch. And so, in closing, I want you to know once again, staff, I love y'all, but this is crunch time. And the Most High says you have a decision to make personally. Either
Not
be
David.
delivered.
Not David.
Not David. You have a choice to make. And it's not going to be angels coming down from heaven with harps to come and pull you out of there. You have a decision to make on your own. Step out on faith and believe the Most High and get out of there.
Take that leap of faith.
Or take the leap of faith, or take the guaranteed fall with David. That's the message.
That's the real leap of
Take
faith.
the leap of faith and get out of that cult and know that the Most High got you and nothing is going to happen to you.
Yep.
Or take that fall with David.
Yep. God's going to have your back.
Yes, he will. I know it.
God's going to have your back.
And he's telling me to tell you that.
Yeah,
he got your back.
He got your back. We got your back too.
Oh, yeah.
We got your back too.
Real steppers.
We might be hard asses out here, but you know what? We know what David's doing to y'all, man, and this is solid proof right here.
That's right.
Proof. So we'll go wrap it up there, man. We ran a 3.5 hour stream. Again, it's been an absolute privilege. I know it's fine. Every time though, this is what matters. This is why we did this, right? This is why we're here, right? Because there's channels doing stuff about other cult. There's some on Scientology and other cults and stuff, but right now, Scientology is a different story, right? That's a whole other different shitstorm of a fucking cult. But David,
it is.
David's blatant disregard for the law and just fuck you, I can do no wrong, I'm the apostle. No, David, guess what? Your fucking time is up, my man.
It's up, boy.
Tell it, Cliff. Yeah, love you're here for you. Yeah, we're here, man. This is a community, and we're gonna talk about these.
I love y'all too.
Yeah, we're gonna keep talking about these. David's not the only one. There's a lot of them.
No, he ain't. He's just the first one.
Number one.
He's just the first of many that's gonna topple.
Yep. So we'll go and wrap it up there, Cliff. Again, it's been an absolute wonderful having you again, man. Again,
always
man.
Alex, man.
Love it.
Always, brother. I thank you, man, for opening this up, so that we can help the people and all the listeners. I thank y'all for y'all love and support and prayers and y'all my family. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to get up there and tell them that they're, and I still consider them my brothers and sisters, but in reality, that was a twisted family there, because you got your spiritual incest and all types of other crap going on, man. But y'all are my true family, man. The ones that is really in these spiritual trenches with me. You know what I'm saying? Doing this dirt work to get Satan out of these people's lives, the best to our abilities, being empowered by the Most High. Yes.
Cliff opened a floodgate, by the way. It's just that floodgate hasn't been revealed yet.
Oh yeah, because it's coming. It's coming, brother.
Yeah,
it's coming. And
the floodgate's been open. Trust me.
And that's all I did. I pushed the button for the floodgate to open. But it's a team effort, and I'm telling you, David, you had your chance. You tried to destroy us when you had us in your grip. but the Most High would not allow it. You've already lost this battle, man. You've already lost it, David. And so, Alex, thank you again, man, for starting this movement against this clown. You know, because the circus is about to leave, man. We about to shut the circus down,
The tent's about to come down.
and it's coming down.
All right.
And once David is out of here, man, the people will be free.
Yeah. Yep. We got to get them help after that.
Yes.
We got to break that cycle. We got to get David off the table. That's number one.
Yes, that's right.
All right, brother. You be good. Have a good night. Thanks again for the time of
You too, man.
time out of your evening. You know, and we appreciate it, man. And I hope we can get some more sometime later on. I'm sure we will.
Oh yes, of course, man. I love you, brother. Thank you
man.
again,
Love
and
you, brother.
I love all y'all. Talk to y'all soon.
All right,
be
good,
blessed.
brother. Have a good night, man.
You too. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you again, Cliff Ware. Probably David's biggest fucking biblical thorn in his side. Oh man. David's like, fuck, man, I just can't get away from this. Like, how is it? David's probably sitting back right now. I would like to think that David's sitting back right now, just like, fuck. I never thought in a million years this would happen. Yeah, the cold is about to shut down. There's more than just this one too, you guys. Facilia, yeah. If any of you guys want to get in touch with Cliff, all right, he's got full discretion with my information. If you guys ready to get your stories out and you want to talk, you guys can get my information from Cliff, and we'll do an interview just like this, where you don't have to show your face. Okay, you guys know who Cliff is. You guys are hearing him. Don't listen to me. Listen to Cliff, man. This is why we did this, is to bring everybody here so we can listen, because I'm listening and watching the chat tonight, and it's helping some of you guys. Mecca and Arnold, I've watched you all night saying, hey, this is helping me. Please keep talking about it. You coming in the chat and interacting with the people, right? Regardless if you guys think so or not, it's helping these people because they're able to process these emotions right here in the group. And we're not going to fucking shit.
Clifton Ware.
Thanks, come back. What up, bro? Cliff?
Hello. Yes. Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah.
Are we still on live?
I'm wrapping it up right now, but I had shut everything down.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I had hung up. Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm wrapping up the live here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, brother.
All right, bye.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, and if you can hear in Cliff's voice, it's like everything in his life has changed, right? Everything has changed around. He's got out. He's got happy. He found his faith again. But he found it on his own, right? He was able to foster his own relationship with God again after fuckwad here fucked it all up, right? Read the Bible. Thank you, Carla. Read the Bible, you guys. Read the Bible. Something David doesn't want you to do. Read the Bible. Get your own relationship with God. Don't listen to fucking Fivehead here, okay? Asswipe here is trying to fuck your relationship up with God. Don't listen to him. Listen to Cliff, man. Listen to Cliff. You got cult members. David, if you're watching, get bent, all right? David, I know you're watching the whole fucking night, and you're too much of a scared little fucking piece of shit to fucking call and iron some shit out. We're watching you, David. Yeah, John G, Cliff, keep your head up, bro. You're the hero, bro. Yeah, you're a hero to his kids, bro, for sure, dude. It's gonna end, bro. It's just we gotta keep filing fraud against him. Right? David's like, oh, when are you going to give me a warrior worth fighting? Well, guess what, dude? We got the fucking IRS involved, David. And we know now because you have come out, Father Time Forehead, ass boy. Yeah, we know, David, because you've come out and said, hey, the IRS, I'm committing wire fraud and all this. Well, yeah, when you're doing it with Cash App and shit like that, it's wire fraud, you asswipe. But you guys, thank you for the wonderful chat tonight, y'all. Smash that thumbs up or thumbs down on the way out for David. I mean, David, I know you're back here lurking the whole fucking night. But yeah, listen to Cliff, guys. Cult members, listen to Cliff. Don't listen to me. Listen to somebody who was actually there. Listen to somebody who witnessed the abuse, and maybe you're experiencing the same thing that Cliff is just talking about. Well, there's a reason why, okay? It's because David is a fucking piece of shit cult leader, and he is absolutely taking you guys to the fucking absolute pit of hell with him. He doesn't care. The fact that Cliff is telling us right here, he is forcing you guys to live in his own fucking demented, filthy fucking reality, and it's disgusting. Yeah, we're gonna be in David's nightmares. And with that being said,